We are back. The Irrelevant Podcast. I'm joined again by Jason. And he's been
Yo.
here waiting for a long time. I apologize, dude.
Time
Um,
management. That's our topic for today's podcast.
yeah, I'm really good at it for like the rest of the day. But once the kind of post gym thing happens, I don't know.
Your mind just gets turned to mush. No, I know. You don't want to do anything. I just came from the gym too.
I want to do things. It's just I forget that oh wait, I had to do that and that and that.
No, I feel you. I feel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you came from the gym too.
Yeah, I do shit on time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because you're German. That's why.
Very punctual.
Yeah, I have some of that in me when it comes to some stuff, but I don't know what it is with me with not arriving to the podcast on time. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't really care. Just busting your bowels.
Well, no, I care because I'm the one who needs to wake up really early. But
Rip.
yeah, I'm the one who needs to wake up. But actually, I've gotten kind of used to it. Um, Obviously, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning was initially just it was hell, but now I don't know. Like when I kind of wake up and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I feel like I'm on some sort of secret military operation or something. It's just cool. Like when I'm just driving on the streets and no one else is there.
Yeah, it is fun to drive at night when there's no one around, but still, my body cannot function before 8 o'clock or 9, so I can't even imagine waking up at 3.
Trust me, if you wake up a little earlier and you just get some. I know you don't like coffee, but you just get some coffee, you'll feel high.
I mean, I don't really have a problem waking up. I just don't want to do it.
That's fair. No, and on the weekends I don't do this shit. I sleep till 9.
Yeah. Apparently, you're supposed to have a consistent sleep schedule. So if you get 8 hours of sleep one day and 5 hours the next, who knows how good that is for you? But whatever. As long as you're sleeping, it's fine. I assume.
Well, yeah, because mine is I mean, I'm not really getting that much hours during the week, but then it's I get a fat sleep Saturday, Sunday, so I
Yeah.
think it works out.
Yeah. No. No.
Makes up for the lost hours.
No. I'm just glad I don't have trouble sleeping, because that would really fucking suck.
Yeah, I don't either. I've started to use melatonin a bit, but it's fine because I could.
Really?
Oh well, yeah, just because sometimes when I have to wake up early, I just have that thing in my head oh I have to wake up early and I can't go to sleep. But then it's
That makes no sense. Do you take melatonin because you're not wanting to wake up early?
no, because when I don't, because when I have to wake up early, I have all that stress and my head just keeps spinning and thinking, and I can't just relax.
You might want to do CBD. Melatonin. Oh, I guess melatonin helps too, but I don't know. I feel like taking too much melatonin to help you sleep all the time isn't good.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm yeah, maybe I should stop. I mean, I'm not taking it on the weekends, but
Yeah, I would just
still.
switch to CBD. Stops your mind from racing and gets some sleep. But I do enough in the day to be tired at nighttime, so that's why I usually don't have any trouble sleeping.
Yeah, I got you. Actually, I think there was one of the nights this week I was just tired anyways, and yeah, it was the. Actually, I can't remember. Damn it.
Nice. On camera live.
Yeah, it's not like Will is addicted to drugs or anything, but
I've taken melatonin, I think, one time in my life, and that was when I got food poisoning and I was throwing up for 2 days straight, and I couldn't get any sleep because I had to run to the fucking bathroom every 10 minutes. So that was the only time I took melatonin, and that
oh,
knocked me out like a baby. So I have
that
CBD oil and
sucks, dude.
melatonin on my bookcase in case shit gets real.
Okay, and CBD is the relaxing part of weed. How does that work?
Yeah, it's
Because
it's a strain that calms you down, but you don't feel you don't feel anything. It's like drinking tea, I guess, is the only way I can explain it. It just relaxes you, but you don't feel any physical differences at all. Or
yeah, you're not high. It's just
yeah, no, it literally just calms your mind. So that's why I said it's perfect for if your mind races at nighttime because it'll calm that shit down.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes I feel like
Nice.
I'll get a mini panic attack when I'm overheated, and it's also 3 o'clock in the morning. I need to get some sleep, and I'll think about every bad decision I've ever made. So like, fuck it, I'll just take some CBD and go back to sleep.
Yeah, that's cool.
But speaking of freaky deaky, we watched a Korean movie called
Yes.
Host after trying to watch Kill Bill. All the fucking versions on Amazon or wherever the fuck we tried to watch it were not available. And that was very
Yeah,
annoying because I was excited to watch Kill Bill.
hold on. I'm looking this up right now. Am I able to buy the physical copy of this like on Amazon? Let me see.
You probably can. Not on the Prime
No,
Video.
but I'm checking. Yeah, not under Prime Video. Let me see. Kill
Because I do eventually
Bill.
want to watch that.
Oh no, I'm sure someone has like buying. They're selling it like you know. No, Blu-ray is unavailable. It looks like in U.S. versions. Let me see.
Did this movie just get ransacked and
Yeah, what
sanctioned and what the
happened?
fuck?
Because like this hasn't happened to any other Tarantino movies. But man,
They probably couldn't handle the one scene that they had to film in black and white because it was too intense for color. It was so gory.
nice.
Which I think was just
Anyway,
dramatic effect because he's a dramatic ass bitch.
right. So anyway, audience, we were gonna watch Kill Bill, but then it was unavailable on both Amazon and Apple. So we were like, shit. And then we spent like nah, not too long looking for another movie to watch.
We did not want
We're
to browse Netflix for 30 fucking minutes.
right because we started scrolling, and then Jason goes, and now we commence the part of watching Netflix where you just scroll 45 minutes looking for what to watch, and then you watch Netflix.
My dad is the worst with that. He will sit there and read the description of every title. It's like 5 minutes a title. He's fucking scrolls through. It drives everyone in the house crazy. Anytime I visit them, it's like Saturday night at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and he's just reading through. And Netflix has the previews. You can watch a
Yeah.
little excerpt from it. He'll just sit there and watch it. My mom's like, "Turn it to the next fucking title," and she'll
Nice.
just go to bed like, "I'm not doing this all night."
No, but so, like those little like trailer thingies that play when you hover over the thing. Sometimes I wish they wouldn't do that because sometimes it literally just spoils the show.
I don't think I've ever seen one that spoils it. It's just annoying that I have to hear the trailer every fucking time I don't want to hear it. Especially when
Yeah,
you
no,
want to
I'm
go
like,
back
can
to it.
you?
It's just like I don't want to scroll through and hear the goddamn trailer all the time.
Yeah, I know, right? But so that's why we turn to my dank Blu-ray collection.
Fuck.
Um,
I thought I turned my mic off for that. Sorry.
so
That was a
anyway,
loud one.
we turn to my uh we turn to my excellent Blu-ray collection to find a movie to watch, and I saw The Host pop out at me, directed by Bong Joon Ho or Ho Bong Joon. I forget because you know how like in Japan and Korea, like the names are like they say the last name first and then the first name last. So I'm like, man, I don't know what's the proper way to say his name because like,
I think it's
it's
just
annoying.
Bong Ho for short.
I don't know about that. Well, so The Host is a movie from 2006, directed by Bong Joon Ho, the director of movies like Parasite from 2019, Mother from 2009, I believe. He also directed Okja, Snowpiercer. Those are his two English language movies. Yeah, so this is a kind of, yeah, I guess it's a horror movie. It's more of a monster movie, I would say.
More of a thriller.
Um,
A goofy, a very tongue-in-cheek thriller.
yeah, because it's not really scary.
No.
It's kind of like a Jaws, but yeah, like Jaws is like a monster movie, right? Or like Alien. Like I would put it in that category.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about the scientists in Seoul, South Korea, that just dump a bunch of chemicals in the Han River,
So
and
I
it
have a
create.
gripe about that. They dumped formaldehyde. The whole premise was they made this river monster out of dumping formaldehyde, which is like a preservative. What the fuck? Like it would
I
just
don't know what it is, but like,
it's what they use to preserve dead bodies for when they for when they're about to show them at a funeral service.
oh, maybe
Yes,
it like went into like it just got all of like the dead fish in the river. I don't know.
just a monster created from formaldehyde just seems really stupid, but I will give it a pass because it's Korean.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, I'll give it a pass because I'm like, I don't care. Just if it's like a monster and just some sort of like, I don't know. It I'll roll with it. Also, if the monster's cool, I'll roll with it. Which I think the monster is pretty cool.
I think for an I don't know, especially in other countries, what the budget is like for when they do
It's
movies.
cheaper. That's the thing. Like I mean, you
Okay.
could tell like the CG is not as good as like something that would have come
Well,
out in like um what were you gonna say?
well, I was just gonna say because the movie is from 2006, which was the year for shitty CGI, and also it wasn't a big budget, so I feel like it wasn't bad. I feel like it was really artistic the way they did it. It wasn't
Oh,
super.
I like it, but
Yeah.
like I like the actual artistic design and like the way they shoot it and everything. But like you can just tell like in certain shots, just like the actual physical quality of it.
Well, yeah,
You
because it was
know?
a smaller, and I don't know if it's true. It felt like it was a smaller budget movie, but it was shot very
It
well.
was.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
no,
fact that they were
exactly.
able to do
Yeah.
that kind of CGI in a small budget, especially for 2006, I feel like was awesome. Because if you watch the Science Channel, I'm sorry, the Sci-Fi Channel, the CGI is just horrendous.
Oh, yeah, but that's television.
Yeah, I know that, but that's modern. So it was even worse back then. So that's why I think a smaller budget movie
Okay.
from 2006 has better CGI than modern sci-fi movies and shows, which I think is funny on a smaller
Yeah.
budget. Not obviously blockbuster budget.
Yeah. Also, like I said, the actual design of the it's like this kind of fishy thing mixed with like crocodile and then like the alien from Stranger Things. I noticed the way his like mouth opens. It's really cool. And I like the way he doesn't eat his victims initially. He just kind of like just like puts them in like he just kind of sucks them up and then he like brings them to the sewer and just brings them like just lets them out there. And then eventually I know he ended up eating a bunch of people, but
Spit up
um
all their bones.
yeah, that was really
The
really
one
really
cool design characteristic that I saw was his flippers were actual fish, and then when the monster died, the fish separated from the body and just swam.
Oh, were they? Oh, I didn't notice that.
You didn't notice that?
Huh.
Yeah, if
Let
you look at
me.
the creature, his actual little small fins were just regular fish that were attached to him. And then when he died, they were separated. And I don't know if they were still alive, but they either fell in the water or they swam away, which is kind of cool.
Let me see. The hosts.
But I think I really like this director's style because Parasite was a strange movie. I usually don't like movies that are set up in that way, which is just the random quirkiness. And the story was interesting, having the family infiltrate this rich family's house. But sometimes those movies can kind of get just dumb as shit to me. But I thought that one was well done, and the fact that he does a lot of it felt satirical the way that he represents life, and like you were saying the last time, he has a very um, hierarchical criticisms within society. So I always thought that's well represented in
Yeah.
most of the movies that he does.
Yeah, he does it really well. In this one, it's definitely less, but
Well,
you
I
still
think
see
in
it with
this,
like the. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna in this one, I think it's more of the hysteria, and especially now with COVID, it's very relevant how irrational people act, or there's a bunch of protests, or the government's lying about their true purpose, and they're lying about the virus that it's so-called, so the so-called virus that they created to instill panic.
Right, and like I watched this for the first time during COVID, so I was like, oh shit.
What was one of the lines like? We must trust what the government says, or some shit like that.
Yeah, the dad he said the government says so. therefore it's true.
Yeah, and then like when the guy comes in with a hazmat suit and he's trying to explain it on the megaphone, he's like, "Hold on, the news is on. They will explain it better."
And he's like, "Oh shit, there's no news on right now."
Yeah,
Um, and then I like how, yeah, I like how there wasn't even a virus.
yeah, and they think
That
that the
was
doctor said it in English, thinking that he wouldn't understand. But he's like, "Virus? No virus."
no virus. No, they had so many moments I thought were
Yeah,
so, even
it was
whether
a
they
funny
were,
fucking movie.
I know, whether they were intentional or unintentional. It was funny, man. Like,
Yeah, they're giving him like a fucking lobotomy or some skin sample on his skull or some shit like that. I don't know what, because like they're like the virus is in here, pointing to the head.
yeah, and he's
It's
like, please
all
stop,
in
please
there.
stop. Yeah, and he's just flipping like the fuck out. It was funny.
That was
Um,
hilarious. That's probably one of the funniest scenes I've seen in a long time.
yeah, and there wasn't really, like, obviously, like, I don't think the movie is like scary, but there was certain moments that really just like got my skin crawling, like
Really?
when, well, like, just for, like, the little moment, like when the daughter is stuck in the sewer and she's trying to get out, and she tries to jump off of the creature to reach the rope, but then, like, she doesn't realize that, like, well, she realized eventually that the creature just like grabbed her with her tail,
Yeah.
and like
That
just puts her down. And then, yeah, that was cool.
I couldn't tell if it was actually asleep and it was just a innate reaction that the creature had, or he was just waiting to fuck with her.
Yeah, I don't know, because that's well, that's the thing, because there's so many things in this movie where I'm like, what really was going on, like
Yeah.
the ending. Okay, I guess maybe we shouldn't go there yet. Um, but I like the actual. Really like the characters. I really like the main guy. And I like how they talk about like their past and everything. And I like how it's like a story where, you don't need to have the whole like mom died when we were sick. Like, you could just tell, like, yeah, their mom's not around anymore. And like, yeah, like you get everything about the whole family structure, but just by
Yeah.
watching them talk to each other, which I love. Even though they do have to hash out their kind of problems and everything that they had, um, it still didn't rely on that, because you could still just look at them, what they do, what positions they're on in their life, how they talk to each other, and you get it.
Yeah, and I like they show the dysfunctional family in a different light than a lot of Western movies and TV does, where
Yeah,
the dad's an idiot, the mom is really snarky, the kids are failures, stuff like that. It always just plays out the same way. But in this one, everybody had their own unique set of issues. And another scene that I really enjoyed was when the dad was explaining. I can't remember the main character's name. For some reason Korean names just don't stick in my head. But
no, you're not the only one.
yeah, but the
Yeah,
main character, his brother and sister don't like him because they think he's a slob and an underachiever, and he's lazy, and he had a kid too young.
yeah,
And so the dad was kind of, getting on them for being so mean to him. And he was explaining the story about how he was growing up. He wasn't the best father, and the main character had to fight for food. So the fact that he didn't, and he said this literally in the movie, he didn't get enough protein, and that's why he acts like this now. And then they fell
yeah. No,
asleep while he was telling the story. He's like, he's smoking a cigarette. The camera's got the side profile shot, and he's explaining in a really low, deep, monotone voice, and they're just fucking
yeah,
asleep.
yeah. No, but the father had some excellent lines. Like, I love the thing he said about like the splitting of a heart of a parent that's lost their child can be heard from miles away. I thought
That's
that
deep.
was really good.
Cuts deep.
Yeah, and then he also said, what was the other one? Wait, he said, oh, like, if an animal harms a human, it is a human's duty to rip every limb off of that animal's body by hand.
I wonder if that's an actual saying, or he just
Yeah,
made
I
that shit
know.
up for the movie. Because stuff like that really reminded me of the director Bong Ho, who the fuck his name is. The kind of social commentary that he does in a lot of the films. So it was just, and I don't know because I'm not really too in tune to Asian culture, specifically Korean culture. So I don't know if being dramatic and over, what's the word, they're always invested in any situation or any small thing that people just pass as an everyday occurrence. They put so much detail and so much volition into whatever they're doing. Like they have so much pride, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just because it's a Korean movie, so that's part of the culture, or if he was making that be ridiculous in the movie as a you know a take on Korean culture. Like if he was over dramatizing everybody as a satirical play. That's what I was trying to figure out for the majority of the movie.
Yeah, I'm the same way because I'm not right like in on the like the I don't have the inside scoop, right? So I don't know exactly how representative that is of
Yeah.
the actual
And
culture.
the one thing that they didn't do, which I was surprised, and this is not racist to say this because I've watched probably a million different Korean shit since COVID started, like movies and shows. And I was saying last time how I was watching the show Physical 100, and I swear to God, every scene where people walk into a room and they don't know what's happening or they meet somebody new for the first time, they always go like, "Whoa, wow, oh!" Like they go like it's like. And but there's 100 of them in the room, so all you hear is all of them doing that at the same time. So they're very expressive in the way they're when they're surprised about something
Yeah.
or they like something they see.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but that wasn't really prevalent in this movie at all.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's
I
not even
wasn't
just
really
like
looking for
the I'm
that.
not even doing the stereotypical Asian like oh like they legitimately like wow.
Yeah. No, I love their reaction when the when the sister was like doing the archery on TV.
Yeah, that was a great one too.
Yeah.
I have to say
Um,
out of all the Asian things that I've seen, I feel like I enjoy Korean ones the most because I don't know if they emulate Western culture or it's kind of their own take on it, but it feels like it's the most Western out of all the Asian ones. Japanese ones are just weird and random for no reason. I've seen some Chinese ones. There was a collection on Netflix of a bunch of different Asian horror stories. So there was like Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, a bunch of Southeast Asian horror stories compiled into one series, which is really cool.
do
But yeah,
you what's it called? Have you seen any of like the Bruce Lee movies?
I've seen one or two a long time ago. I've never really been into martial arts movies.
Okay, because those and like the Jackie Chan stuff, that's the only like Chinese stuff I've seen. Actually, no, there's this one Chinese movie I saw from like 2019. I think it was called Shadow. It was pretty cool. Um, that might be something we could watch later.
Yeah, my favorite Chinese movie is Kung Fu Hustle. That we have to
Haven't seen
watch
that
too.
yet.
It's so ridiculous.
Okay.
It's so funny.
Okay. Um, yeah. The Korean stuff, it just has like this twang to it. Just
Yeah, it's very
um
cheek. They're very cheeky people, which is interesting because I've met a lot of Koreans that I've met in real life, and not like Korean Americans. When I went to the college that I went to, they had a very high exchange student um, program because they had a campus in Korea. So we've had like legitimate Koreans come over to do some courses, and they're very serious people, but they're also funny too. Like they're fucking hilarious, and they'll always tell you the best military stories because it's mandatory.
yeah, it's like Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, without I'm sure you can get exemptions, but
Yeah, I'm sure, but still, the majority of the population, especially male, will be drafted into the military.
yeah, I mean, I don't blame 'em. Like that border area around North Korea, I'm pretty sure is like the most heavily guarded border in like the whole world.
It's a miracle people can sneak out of the country. Honestly,
North Korea.
yeah,
And
it's
I'm sure
super
it
dangerous.
like it like rarely happens though.
I believe there's just a shit ton of mines everywhere. There's a bunch of dangerous animals. I don't remember what kind, but obviously it's heavily guarded and barbed wire and all that shit. So it's very difficult to cross over.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like, how? But even on like other sides, like if you're on like the coast, I'm pretty sure it's still just as hard, just because it has all that same shit you said, like all the mines, like guards and animals and shit.
Yeah. Also, just crossing water is not difficult if you don't have the proper, supplies and boating. It's like you always see the stories of a lot of refugees, drowning in the ocean because there's too many in a boat, kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's like, well, yeah, because like once you leave, it's like, what do you do? Where do you go?
It's difficult to cross by water when you're not experienced.
Right. Yeah, but it's like, what option do you have? You know?
Yeah, it's true. Fight or die trying.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah,
Um. Yeah. So I really like the characters. Um. And I like how the dad like really wanted to kill the monster.
yeah.
Um. Right. And I like how you don't like they didn't really explain why. You know. He just you could tell like he was just that man who was just like a man of his word, a man of principle, right? And he's just like, yeah, I have to do this. You know.
Well, I mean,
And it was
the monster took his grandchild. Geez, grandchild.
that is true, but you could tell like there was some I don't know that it felt like there was some other reason where like he just like this is just like what I'm meant to do, even if he didn't really say it. He just kind of gave off that vibe, you know.
Well, my guess is because he owned a fucking food stand in a park, so he probably aspired for more, and this was his time.
Could have been as simple as that.
That was another funny moment because the main character, he was a server in the food stand and he kept eating one of the legs off the fried octopus. So people kept complaining there was one less leg on their fried squid or whatever the fuck.
Yes. Yeah. Um. Yeah, and when the dad died, that was really sad.
Yeah, the monster fucking flung him with his tail and slammed on the ravine
Yeah, that
concrete.
was yeah. That's the thing, dude. You'll see like in Parasite and in this movie, it's not like gratuitous violence, you know, right? It's not like overly violent, but like whenever he has those dashes of violence in his movie, they hit, dude.
Yeah,
Like it's brutal, but it's like just that little like it's like this little flash of like of lightning, you know. So that's it zaps you, you know.
yeah. The other thing that was interesting, and this may be just total guessing because I've never been to Korea, but I've heard because my dad's been. I've heard that Seoul is a pretty futuristic s city. It's one of the most technologically advanced cities, at least in Asia, if not the world. I think. I think.
I think in the world, yeah.
But what's interesting is I after seeing both of us like in Parasite, how he makes Korea look like a third world country with how poor the family is, in contrast to how rich the family is and how nice the countryside looks. But I feel like in Host, um, the majority of Korea he portrayed was kind of like it almost felt dystopian a little bit. Or I
In a
can't,
way, yeah.
and I
It
like I
it
said because I've never been there, so I don't know what parts of Korea like. But the way that he shot a lot of degradation, and crumbling and all this other shit, and it didn't really feel like it was painting it in a good light.
right. Which is something that I think um he does he doesn't glorify it in some of his other movies I've seen, but he paints it in a much lighter and better picture. Yeah, but I get the same thing, right? Like he doesn't he's not doing the Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu babble where it's like the Mexico part where he you could just tell like he's like yeah Mexico dude, you
Yeah, I
know.
know we were talking about that.
He's just totally jerking himself off, which I mean I can't blame him. Mexico is cool, and the way he does it is pretty cool. I love the music. I love seeing all the shots of Mexico. It's cool. He did it. You know, like I'm like, yeah, you fooled me. But like Bong Joon Ho, yeah, it's cool to see the contrast of that, where he's like, he's not like welcome to South Korea. He's just like welcome
Yeah, I
South
feel
Korea.
like
Like
it's
it's just
it's regular places that you would probably see if you're there. It's not like
yeah,
glorified
like he's not
shots.
yeah, it's like he's not glorifying it, nor is he like belittling it and making fun of it. He's just like, yeah, it's just some regular place.
Yeah. So I couldn't tell if that was the angle. Like I said, because it's hard to tell if you've never been somewhere. But
Yeah, but
um,
that's what makes me curious to actually go there and see for myself what it'd be like.
yeah, I definitely want to go to Korea. I've never been in anywhere in Asia, so it'd be fun to go. I'd go to all of them.
Yeah, I want to go there in Japan.
I want to go to China, but like not any major city in China. I want to go to the countryside and visit the monasteries and all that shit and the mountains and all the rice paddies and all that.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Vietnam, I want to go to as well.
Yeah, Vietnam would be cool.
It looks beautiful, like those kind of how do you say, like, I mean, I know we say fjord, but that's like a, I don't know if you would say that. It's
Who the
just,
fuck says fjord? That's like a river in the North Nordic countries. Like who says fjord?
no, but a fjord, like it's just like there's like those huge kind of mountain thingies or rocks sticking out of the water, and then there's just like a cave, like, not a cave, and there's just like the big water, and like there's like a port with the beach in it. I don't know. It looked, it's hard to explain what it is, but like I know what it is in my head. But
I need to look this because I thought fjord just meant river, but let's see what a fjord
yeah,
is.
a fjord is referring to like a yard of,
Oh,
like a body of water around like these tall rocks sticking out of water. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Fishel is a
If I can,
long, it's a long, narrow, deep inlet of sea between high cliffs. Is what it says.
like cliffs. Yeah, okay, that's what I was looking
Yeah,
for. Yeah.
interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. See, it's basically a giant river between mountains, I guess. But I guess it's seawater.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, Vietnam has a bunch of those.
Yeah, I always thought those were cool looking. I want to go there. I don't know if it's in Vietnam or Thailand. One of those have like pink looking salt flats, and those would be cool to go to as well.
Yeah. Um, I also I love that part when they're in that kind of, I don't know if they were in like their house or they were in some kind of shelter, right? Just like getting food. Um, and then it's after like the thing we talked about where the dad's telling them like, hey, like this is the deal with your brother. Just don't make fun of him. Stop being mean to him. Please understand. And then like the guy, the main character, like wakes up and then he's like it's watching us. And I love how it's just like it looks out the window. It's so well done. I love this director style, like you said.
Yeah, and when we started the movie, it started in the English dub, and that's always the. I hate. I don't mind dubbed in anime because you know, it could sound like it would fit, but anytime I watch a real time dub, it just never works.
It's bad.
Yeah,
I
it's
am like,
awful.
yeah,
They can't even get
animated
good voice
stuff is
actors.
right. Like animated stuff is the only thing I'll watch dubbed.
You'd think it's I guess the budget is just not good enough to get good voice actors for dubbed things.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
yeah, I'd rather watch subtitles because people are dumb and need to learn how to read again. So it's making me
Uh,
learn how to spell words again.
yeah, like someone told me they watched what is it, Squid Games or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're saying they watched that in an English dub. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
that's awful. The Korean, like it's not even like the original's better than the remake. I've watched both of them. The English dub is awful.
I bet. I only watched the first episode of that.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know. I never got back to it.
I thought it was really good. You should finish it.
I might.
It actually gets very good. It's one of those really hyped up shows that actually is worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
second season might be awful because, they're trying to piggyback off the success, but the first season for sure is really great.
Okay. Okay. Um, I love the end too with the monster and how they killed it.
Oh, yeah, with the. I just thought he was going to throw his last Molotov and he missed, and then daughter came in with the archer shot.
That was cool. And then he eventually just sticks that like pole into its mouth in the end.
Yeah.
And I like how like he's not even pushing back anymore. Like he just kind of like plants his feet and he's just like, no, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. That was
The
so cool.
other the other aspect of that was kind of ridiculous is it showed the characters running around trying to kill the monster where they just sprayed it with Agent Yellow. I don't know.
Yeah, what the hell was that? I don't.
It's a massive. It's I don't. It's some sort of biological weapon, but I know Agent Orange is another gross chemical. But I don't feel like you'd be able to stand up and fight a monster if you are exposed to that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but
Or
I
wait,
really.
I guess it's not a real thing. I guess Agent Orange is the real thing, and Agent Yellow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or hold on, because I've never heard of it. It might be a thing, or it's something they just made up for the movie. But I guess it's supposed to mimic Agent Orange. It was what they used a lot in the. I think it's the Vietnam War. I believe. Yeah, Vietnam
Oh
War.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I thought. And it caused like you couldn't even grow anything there for like decades. I think.
Yeah, it's a fucking gross ass chemical that we just decided to use. Let's see the health effects. Wow, leukemia, Hodgkin's lymphoma,
Oh
a lot
damn!
of cancers:
Not
prostate cancer, respiratory cancer, lung cancer, and soft tissue sarcomas.
not get off to a good start right now.
Mm-mm.
Um.
I guess yeah,
Yeah.
Agent Yellow is the
Oh
shit they made up.
yeah. Glad I'm not fighting a war right now.
I wonder why they call it Agent Yellow.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason. But I really do love the atmosphere of this movie. Um, I love the way that Bong Joon Ho shoots his shots. Even if like he's not painting like a postcard image of Korea, it still looks beautiful, right? He still makes all of these like just square buildings and all this stuff just look incredible,
Yeah,
you know? And especially the shots around like the Han River with like all those grassy kind of patches and the bridge and everything. I just really love that this like and I know it's supposed to be real life, but I really love the world he creates in this movie. And when it rains, it's so just relaxing, you know, because even if it's like a horror movie, it's not a horror movie. Even if it's like a thriller and a monster movie, it's just so relaxing. It's a really relaxing movie in my opinion.
the one thing I'm always curious about with directors is obviously they have a vision of how things are supposed to be portrayed, but it's ultimately
Right.
the actor's job to carry out that vision, right? So I've always wondered how that process is of, having an idea on paper or a vision in your head and trying to get other people to express that. And if they do that very well, that's the only thing that I've been, well, not the only thing, that's one of the things I've always been curious about when it comes to those kind of movies.
Yeah, wait. Did he is he a writer too? I want to know because I know some directors they write and direct, but I don't know
Right.
if he wrote. I want to say he does. Hold on.
Well, his movies kind of seem similar, so even if he doesn't write the plot, he probably adds in a bunch of details that are, in his style.
Or he might work with the same writer.
Yeah,
A lot of directors do that.
or that too.
Let me see. The
But I always thought that was interesting
host.
is trying to find the right people to carry out whatever story you're trying to express. But I don't know. I,
Wait,
I,
I'm
I like
looking.
how they had like a smidgen of English in the subtitled version too. I thought that was funny. They had like the token American guy being all fake stoic and trying to hit the monster with a goddamn concrete sign, like one of those metal signs that's stuck in concrete. There's no way they've been able to pick that shit up.
I like how they even tried to like explain how that would make sense. They're like, oh, he's like a military guy.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, points for trying and at least
his
acknowledging that that's stupid. I
yeah,
thought that was fun. I thought that was interesting the way they handled that.
yes. There's
And
moments
then
like that where I think it's just intentional, just quirkiness.
yeah, it's like the cheese, you know, like when the
Yeah,
monster's still like when he comes out for the first time of the Han River, it's kind of like when you first see it for the first time, you see it running on like the those like kind of stadium seats. It's like what? It's kind of freaks you out a little bit, but then it's like, oh, what? And he's just like shoving people around and like just it's it has a bunch of like it's like cheese and then it's also kind of like thrilling and then it's a bunch of different things, but it just that's what this director's really good at. He's really good at just blending a bunch of different tones and moods, and it just works, right? Like this movie, like we said, it's got a bunch of funny moments. It's got a bunch of really sad moments too, and like really happy moments too. You know, when they actually come back together and get the monster, and just they got everything in it. I think it works.
yeah. I think it does. The reminded me the another funny scene was when they like everybody first spotted the monster dangling from the bridge, and they're like, "What is that?" and then he throws a beer in the water and it takes the beer with its tail, so then they all start throwing their food and drinks at it,
Yeah, I was like,
trying to
what?
feed it. Like they don't even know what the fuck it was.
They said that yeah, they were all throwing out ideas and stuff. Um, but yeah, like the ending. What was that? What did you make of that? Because I still don't really understand it.
What do you, past them killing the monster? What do you mean?
Yeah, like the final scene. Like what was that?
I'm blanking on the final scene. I don't remember what it was.
Remember, there's that kid who
Oh, that's the kid that befriended the girl, the main character's daughter that they're trying to find. When she
yeah,
died,
yeah,
the kid was there, so he just decides to adopt him as his own kid.
yeah. But then I'm like, why is why are only them two there? Like, why is
I
only
don't
the
know.
main character and then the guy he adopted? No one else. And then you see pictures of all the other family members on the wall. And then you look outside, like when it shows the exterior shot of the house, it looks like there's like no other houses within the vicinity. So I'm like, what just happened? Is that is it just some super like dystopian like
Well, it might have been just because
wasteland? Like,
it might
but
have
you
been
see what
just
I'm
like a
saying?
no.
Like it.
Yeah, I mean, it might have just been like because like they quarantined off or they sprayed all that chemicals around the city, or like the monster was there, so no one wanted to live there or some shit. But he still stayed. Like maybe I don't know.
That's the thing, just the ending. I'm like, what is that? It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that it was shot, but I don't know if it was supposed to carry any more meaning than just ends with him finding comfort in adopting the boy as his own kid because his daughter died.
Oh no, I'm sure that is the wait. The his daughter died.
Yeah, the girl died.
When?
Remember when the because the monster took them and I guess regurgitated them back out, and this is when they were trying to kill it, and she's lying on the floor dead.
Wait, when like the main character is there?
Yeah, but the kid, the boy, he was still alive. And remember, he was asking about her to him.
Should I think this was at the time where I was falling asleep.
Well, there you go. I thought you said you've
That's the
seen
thing.
this before.
I have, but no, I'm sure you're right. And then I what you said about the point of the final scene that does make sense, and that probably is what that was. But I just all the other details around it I thought were really cool.
Yeah, no, I thought, like I said, the actual
Yeah,
way it was shot was really cool.
yeah, like you just see it outside, it's just snowing and it's nothing. But it's like they have this fully functional operational house within it with all of their food and stuff as if it's a store, right? But it's like it's just a store and there's nothing around them. It's just like the winter wasteland. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it probably was supposed to give off a dystopian vibe. So well done.
And I like the moment where the guy coughs and like the he coughs up some like whatever like mucus or and then like spits it in the street and then like the
Oh
bus comes
yeah,
up.
yeah.
That was
The
nice.
everybody's freaking out because the thing he spit fucking splashed back at him when the car drove past. That was really funny.
Yeah. I love the scene where the brother escapes from that thing because the guys paid him off to capture him.
Oh
His
yeah,
friend who's gonna show him where the missing daughter was in the sewer. Um, that was really funny.
yeah. And then also they hired some sort of chop shop to get them an escape van to escape the hospital that they were in. And then the scene where they were just racking up the bills of all the illegal shit they made them do. So how expensive was it going to be? They're going through
Yeah,
all the
that was
costs.
cool. Yeah, I was like, wait, were those the people that the dad called to like?
Yeah, you basically hired a chop shop to help them escape.
I love, yeah, like they're calculating the total as if it's like
Yeah.
an actual business, and then plus this, that, and that.
And he
Yeah,
just took his whole wallet instead.
yeah, I think that's what they did. Like he
And like
sold literally everything.
they gave him suits that weren't the same color as the other people that were disinfecting the city, so they had to make up a story because they were gray suits.
Yeah, and I am a sucker for like those kind of scenes in movies where they have to like make it through security.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something about that. I'm just like, oh, come on, let's go. Let's get through security. It's just so like, you know, like this, like that little like, whew, like comfort of like stealth. You know, like when you're playing Assassin's Creed or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, like nobody sees me. I'm in the good. Like I'm in the clear. You know.
Yeah, and the fact that they bribed the manager at the gate with his ramen bucket of change.
Yeah, I know that was pretty funny.
And I don't know what he was saying. I can't remember what he was saving that for. It was probably to send his daughter to college or something dumb like that. He was just putting in an empty ramen cup.
I didn't know how much like money that was. Probably not a lot.
Probably it was not even. It was like one of the small little bowls and it wasn't even filled.
Yeah. Yeah, like just moments like that keep coming to my head. I'm like, oh, nice. Like that was awesome.
Yeah. Overall, I
Um,
I enjoyed it. I think more than I thought I would because when it first started, I was like, oh, this is just gonna be really stupid. But it got more
yeah,
enjoyable.
that was kind of me too. And then it just kind of gets more like serious and, but also
Yeah.
still maintains that kind of silliness. It just strikes a really good balance. Did you like this better than Parasite or Parasite better?
Um, I think I liked Parasite a little bit better because I thought the story was more interesting. I'm normally not a fan of creature movies because I think, there's only so much interesting stuff you can put into a creature movie. You have to make up all this backstory or some bullshit reason why the fucking monster exists in the first place. So I don't know. I feel like Parasite was more creative.
Okay. Well, in terms of creature movies, this is probably my favorite. Either this or, I mean, Alien, I think is just kind of in a different category.
Yeah, if I
Um,
was to say my favorite creature movie recently has been Predator, the new Predator that came out, Prey.
I love the first Predator.
Yeah, Predator was
I
great.
think I think the first Predator is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I can't think of other creature. I'm sure there's about Stephen King creature movies are cool too.
Jaws is really good.
I do like Jaws. All the remake or all the sequels were awful though.
I only saw the first one. I feel like I already. I'm like, I know what I'm getting into with the sequel. I'm like, I don't feel like doing it. It's like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
I
I feel
know.
like.
Right.
Go ahead.
I know you cannot condemn a book you have not read, but in this case, I'm like, I don't want to read it. I'm fine.
Yeah, no, I feel you, and I believe there's even a Jaws in space. Fucking
Yeah, or some like,
something stupid like that.
yeah, there's some, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I can
Um,
deal with Sharknado because that's supposed to be like that, but like a Jaws in space, really.
I haven't seen Sharknado.
I mean, it's what you'd expect. It's like Birdemic. It's just a really stupid C-rated horror movie.
Oh, not Birdemic. Have you seen The Birds?
I don't think so.
That is a. I mean, I haven't seen it since I was in middle school, but we watched that for some like school club movie night. That was pretty scary, dude.
um, I don't,
I'm sure. I'm sure even now, I'd probably think it's pretty creepy.
I don't really get creeped out by creature movies. I don't. I feel like psychological horror movies or ones that are just really just disgusting kind of creep me, like Human Centipede, like shit like that.
What happens in that?
You've never heard of Human Centipede?
Um, I mean, I'm blanking.
Oh man, that's another one we gotta watch for the podcast. It's about a mad
Add it to the
scientist,
add it to the
and
queue.
he wants to make a human centipede. So he takes three people, and he made them have one digestive tract. So the first person in the pee eats and then shits it into the second person. That person eats that and then shits into the third person, and then they walk around. They basically stapled three people together to make a centipede.
Uh-huh.
And you didn't want to watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's such a great movie.
Maybe one day. But like I said, guys, I am a lot pickier when it comes to my taste in um stuff, whereas Jason is pretty much like, yeah, anything is fine. Not like anything is good, but just yeah, I'll watch, listen to, or anything, you know.
I'll watch whatever. That's how you
Yeah,
experience new things and like things you'll never thought possible.
that's true. No, yeah, I mean you proved me wrong with I didn't dislike Slipknot, but I kind of went into them like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but then I know I was pleasantly surprised with Slipknot. They were very good.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
they were one of those bands they just get polarized for the wrong reasons, and every time you think about evil music with screaming, they're the first band that usually comes up if the
right,
boomers keep thinking about Black Sabbath, but there's nothing like that in Black Sabbath.
right. Even though they literally made Black Sabbath, so
What do you mean?
no, it's because like all the stuff that the boomers complain about, like that's literally their fault.
Oh yeah, no, it's all their fault. But it's the funny, like they just don't understand what they're mad at, so they'll just use Black Sabbath as an example of evil screaming music, and there's no fast screaming anywhere near. Black Sabbath sounds closer to Led Zeppelin than anything.
Yeah, I listened to them. I was like, this is metal.
I mean, they basically started the kind of genre of metal because their guitar player got his fingertips cut off in some sort of factory accident, so he down tuned the strings as a way to make it easier for him to play, and then it just kind of sounded evil in that lower tuning, and that's kind of where it came from. But they're
Hmm.
very bluesy. Black Sabbath is a very bluesy band.
Yeah, that's kind of yeah, like a Led Zeppelin I know is similar to that too. Like especially Led Zeppelin 1.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin stole a lot of that shit though. Black Sabbath at least paid homage to all the blues players in America, and they didn't totally rip off stuff like Led
Eh,
Zeppelin did.
whatever. Zeppelin's good though.
I guess. But I mean I do like Led
Zeppelin's
Zeppelin,
really
but like
good.
I don't know, like they don't really have too much original shit about them, and that's kind of what irritates me about them.
Well, I didn't even know that, but either way, I'm just like the music as itself, it's good. So
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm usually not a fan of that vocal style, but obviously Robert Plant is yeah.
Unique. I like Robert Plant's voice.
But Jimmy Page is a pretty good example of a phenomenal guitar player in terms of just sound and riffs and all that. Even if they did
Oh
steal a lot of
yeah,
that shit.
he's a very very rock solid guitar player.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, I just think it's funny that they just use them as a scapegoat without actually listening to the music.
right, but it's like they say the same thing about like the like why kids don't play outside anymore. It's like yeah, because you made every building look so ugly, bro.
Dude, yeah, if
Right, or
people that
it's
aren't
like
from Northern
kids.
Virginia, if you go anywhere close to DC, everything just looks like a gray and blue block because they're making data centers everywhere and everything's a microbrewery and an industrial park. Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
very shitty looking
Everything.
here.
Yeah, I know. It's so true. Everything is just like a data research center
Yeah,
everywhere. It's just like
townhouse, brewery, vape store, data center.
mixed in with like block that has all of like your typical stuff that you find all across America, where like McDonald's and all the typical like consumer stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
closer to
then
the exits to the highway, but just standard neighborhoods just look like fucking industrial parks. It's just I hate it here so fucking much. They've destroyed this state. We have everything. We have beach, mountain, forest, rural, and urban. We have pretty much every demographic in this one state, and they've destroyed the fucking majority of. I wouldn't say the majority of it. In Northern Virginia, they destroyed the majority of it because there's a lot of beautiful valley and farmland and cottage core esque things here, but they just want to turn the entire thing into a fucking data center.
yeah, yeah, dude, like go to Loudoun County. That's beautiful, and that's not even that far from here.
It's literally the richest county in this fucking side of the country.
The richest.
I'm pretty sure. If you look up
Like
the
I know Prince William is in like the top 10 for income, but not for wealth. But I would believe you if you told me that Loudoun County was like the wealthiest county. That definitely makes sense.
yeah, it definitely has the most. Let's see, the 25 wealthiest counties in the U.S.
Yeah, what's coming up?
Let's do. Let's see. This is from this is a fucking Yahoo article. God.
I don't know, whatever.
Oh, tap me out at 6. Really? It won't get me to the number 1 because I have to pay to read more. I'm
No,
so
that's
sad.
stupid. Just look, just Google it, and then just see whatever comes up on Google, bro.
I am. I can't see the top one is from YouTube, but it looks. I see Fairfax, Prince William County on there, but it's not in order. Let's see the top 5, top 15 richest counties. God damn it, they keep making me scroll. I'll look at this later, but I'm almost pretty sure that Loudoun County is up there in Fairfax County too, because they're closer together.
Yeah.
Yeah, top 10 richest counties in the. Oh, this is in the U.S. This isn't even on the East Coast. Yeah, Loudoun County median household income is 142,000. I feel like it's probably more than that now because there's mansions out in that bitch that definitely will not. You will not be able to afford them with $140,000 salary. But that's just the median.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
But maybe
So I
these
think,
people have inheritance and they can just pay for it through that.
yeah.
Because
This is.
wealth, as
So I
people
think,
don't understand, is different than income.
yeah. Loudoun County is definitely the number one richest county in the States, I think.
In the
Which is
U.S.,
crazy. I think
not
so. It's
like
weird.
not like the where like Martha's Vineyard is or whatever in Massachusetts.
I I'm not looking into what they really define that as, or just kind of like the difference between wealth and income and property value, all that shit. I don't know. I know that land is really expensive out there, and even if you have a shitty house, it's probably you know more than 600 grand. I would say it's a
Yeah.
safe
Okay.
bet, but
Let me look up this. Maybe hold on.
which is crazy because you'd think like Malibu or somewhere in California where all the richest people go to, or New York or something, but
Yeah. Let me
right
see.
here,
Okay.
government
Well.
hellhole.
Yeah, because when I just type in the wealthiest county, yeah, it comes up with that same thing on
It's almost like
um
we're both Googling it, so you're gonna get the same results, Will.
no, but that thing, like, it's just I say wealth and then it just says the income is. I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they keep talking about the median income. It's like, no, I don't want the median income. I
Yeah,
want the
I don't care about income. I am talking. Okay, when you look up in like the related question section, the first thing is what is the wealthiest county in the U.S.? It comes
yeah,
up Loudoun County, Virginia. Before the American Civil War, the wealthiest counties were primarily located in Louisiana and Mississippi because of the high number of enslaved people who are
makes
not
sense. Free
included
money.
who are not included in the population. Loudoun County, Virginia, a suburb of District of Columbia, is the highest income county. I don't care about the high income. Whatever.
Well, I guess is what they consider the wealthiest is the people with the highest income. I guess I don't know, but it's crazy that the median is 142.
Yeah, all right. Oh, what is the poorest U.S. county? It says Buffalo County, South Dakota.
Yeah, there's nothing to fucking do out there besides
Well,
Suboxone and raping somebody in the cornfields,
yeah, what the hell is South
raping
Dakota,
your
bro?
sister in the
Like,
cornfields.
oh, yeah, you had to put. I mean, no, I mean, I'm sure you're not wrong, but
I had to
yeah,
distinguish that. Yes, I did.
that like Northwest. I'm like the North Midwest is like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I mean, you're not, dude. There was there used to be a lot of abandoned places, a lot of abandoned farms, abandoned houses out in Loudoun County, but they keep building. We tried to go to a couple of them because there's lists that people would tag on Reddit with locations, but all of it pretty much has been built out. But the one, it was a mansion somewhere in Leesburg, and it was a famous Middle Eastern drug lord that used to own this mansion, and it was abandoned for a couple of years, and people used to just go in there. But now, because when we drove
Wait, like
past it, hmm?
here?
Yeah, like by Leesburg, and we drove
Oh,
by it
damn.
a couple of months ago, and there were just this massive sign like warning anybody from trespassing. There's cameras everywhere saying you will be prosecuted if you step on ground. So I don't know why they just left it. I guess no one wants to buy a former drug lord house. I don't know. But the fact that they
Yeah.
still left it abandoned intact and that somebody, I guess, still owns it, or whoever owns it does not want anyone on the premises because it got popular to people would just come and squat there, check it out, or film it. You can look on YouTube, a bunch of videos, just a abandoned mansion you can explore.
Abandoned mansion in Leesburg,
Yeah, drug lord.
Virginia.
Yeah, I was very disappointed. I figured out it was already going to be inhabited, or we were not going to be able to go in there. But I just wanted to see it in person. But you could barely see it because the gate was so far away from the house, and there's a lot of trees.
Yeah.
They literally had cameras everywhere. There's a camera right by the fucking sign. And I don't know if they were actually on, if they're just trying to scare people and they weren't gonna actually do shit. But I don't know. Like I don't fuck around with trespassing charges. I used to do that shit all the time before I was 18. So walk in the woods, you're on some fucking construction company's property, and they're gonna press charges and all this retarded shit. I just don't
Yeah,
want to
there's
deal with it.
some there's some yeah, there's some buildings around where I work where the warehouse is where I'm like, yeah, this is definitely some like kind of government thing where like it's a lot of money that's made there, you
Yeah,
know?
you got to be careful walking around the woods out here sometimes, especially out west, like in Warrenton, Fauquier County. Like, there's a lot of government secret sites, and like, dude, they don't fucking nobody fucking plays around here with trespassing. Like, they take that shit super serious because of all the government shit.
Right, but I mean it makes sense why people like a lot of people like to move here just because there's so much shit to do. Not
Yeah,
necessarily, I mean, even if like even so like in the cultural side, like it's so much easier I think to like start a business and all this stuff. Even if the prices have gone up, it's like, well, whatever. Prices go up and down all the time, right? But I just
yeah,
think like the way the culture is here, it favors that kind of like entrepreneurial business kind of thing that I'm getting into, but then it also has like this the nice communities, right, and the nice and the churches and everything.
right.
Um, I think it's good, and it also has like a bunch of good restaurants and a bunch of places where I'm like, yeah, that's look, it just looks like a nice place.
The restaurants are
Um,
very nice, especially if you get closer to DC in the Arlington area. The food is great because you get a bunch of different types of cultural foods. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's super expensive to own anything in this fucking state, or just the cost of living in general. I think gas isn't really too bad here. I feel like it's reasonable with the rest of
no,
the
yeah,
country.
I'm fine with gas here.
Yeah, it's never been like $6 like in California and New York and shit.
Yeah, that is like that. We have reached I am legend
Yeah.
level
Yeah, I
gas
think
stuff.
the highest I've ever seen here was when people were freaking out for whatever part of COVID that was. It was like 480. It was almost five. Um, I think that's the highest I've ever seen. It was high kind of back in 2008 ish when we are going
Mm.
through that goddamn housing crisis. But yeah, that's the highest I've ever paid. It's 480.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think like out here, like there's still always like money to be made just because like all
Yeah.
the government stuff that goes on. Like,
Oh yeah. And Amazon too. All the like I said, a lot of Amazon data centers. So people and also Micron and BAE Systems, Lockheed Martin, all that shit. That's all here. The fucking
oh,
NRA
BA,
headquarters is in goddamn Fairfax. Like, there's a
yeah,
lot of
dude,
head. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
there's so many like big like companies and institutions like that where I like didn't even realize what they were. It's like, oh yeah, we're painting this, and I'm like, oh okay,
Yeah,
BAE, oh okay, whatever. I'm like, oh wait, like you're just saying that right? BAE,
yeah,
what is that? And then
yeah,
I'm just like, yeah, like we painted like Amazon and then like Microsoft, dude. I'm like, oh damn. I was like,
yeah. It's
the Microsoft?
it's crazy. So like, if people are you drive along 66 and I will be your tour guide today for Northern Virginia. So on your right, you'll see the NRA headquarters, and if you keep going down, you see the Raytheon building, and then you'll go past the Lockheed Martin and a Northrop Grumman. So you know,
Hey,
take
we
pictures.
paint all of those, dude.
Then we can go down to Quantico for the FBI headquarters. We can go to Langley for the CIA headquarters,
We painted that
NSA.
too. Haha.
So it's a very interesting cultural place we have, and the majority of the state's just rednecks.
Oh yeah, like if you keep not into account the northern part by DC. Oh yeah, it's all rednecks.
Yeah, it's just
But
we're
I just
30
love
miles from the city. Then 15 minutes west, there's mountains peak.
right, and then it's like the whole area here is like you make a bunch of money by just doing Excel sheets and clicking buttons for like sometimes I'm like I swear I'm like what do these people do? They like get paid so much money. I'm
They
not
don't do shit.
saying no, I'm not saying that like they shouldn't get that much money because really I don't understand what it is they're doing and they know something I don't like and they're doing something and I probably couldn't do. So I don't really I'm like that's just how it is, whatever. I can make a bunch of money in another way, but at the same time I'm just wondering I'm like what are they doing? Really?
Especially when they can't explain it to you, and it's not even technical what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, but like some people do have like really weird jobs that like for to the average person make like no sense.
Yeah, I mean that is the one good thing. Like I said, it's expensive to start a business, but if you really tap into the right clientele, like there definitely is money.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah, and no, but that's some place like we were talking about the restaurants. That's something where DC doesn't go wrong. Like they got some good restaurants.
yeah, I have taken I've been to just restaurants that you have to wear a suit to, and with a jazz band playing. Those high-rise office building restaurants. We went to one the other day for Valentine's Day. It was phenomenal.
Mm. Now,
So many good fine dining restaurants around.
what was the restaurant?
Um, so the three that I've been to, I'm sorry, the two that I've been to, one I want to go. There's one in Tyson's called Eddie V's, and they I think they're categorized as a seafood and prime steak stuff like that, but it's in walking distance of the Tyson's Mall on the high rise platform, but it's near I think the rest of it's town centers or offices or something like that. And you take an
Hmm.
elevator to go up to the restaurant. You walk in, it's super high end shit. Like I said, most people are wearing nice clothes. They got a jazz band playing, and I think for if you get a drink and a dessert and an entree and probably an appetizer for two people, it's 120 or 130, which is not bad for fine dining. Um,
For for two people?
yeah, but that
Oh,
is
that's
like
not
with
bad at
getting like
all.
a drink, appetizer, food, and then a dessert as well. The one I
Yeah,
went
you
for
get
Valentine, the
yeah.
one the one I went for Valentine's Day was Joe's Seafood, which is a very innocuous name and it sounds like it's a chain, but I think there's only one in Las Vegas or one in Chicago, one in LA or whatever. There's only three of them, but again, it's a really nice, you know, marbled interior. Everybody's dressed nice and the food is phenomenal. And they had a bunch of expensive bottle. I think their most expensive bottle of wine was like a $850 bottle of champagne. So, highly recommend that place. And there's one in Falls Church called 2941, and it's a contemporary American fine dining place, but it looks good. So, tons of, and then also if you like cultural stuff, DC has a lot of good Vietnamese places, a bunch of other Asian stuff. I haven't had Indian food in there yet, but they had this. They used to have this restaurant called Marrakesh, and I think it was a Lebanese place or it was some sort of Middle Eastern place. But you go in there, you sit on the little cushion pillow things, and it was a set price, but you got a three-course meal plus dessert. They give you this really great Moroccan mint tea. It's really fucking good, and they
Hmm.
also have some belly dancing shows and entertainment. So it was an awesome place. I don't know why it ever shut down. Probably
Yeah,
COVID. I'm sure COVID killed it because there's no way they're gonna deliver.
it sucks. I'd like, cause I'd love to. I love Middle Eastern music, so I'd love to go to like a place where they're serving
Yeah,
like kebabs and stuff, and I'd love to listen to like the just like some dude playing the oud. That'd be so
yeah.
cool.
DC
Um,
has a ton of fun date stuff to do. Like the cherry blossoms are coming out, so you can take a little Potomac River cruise and see the cherry blossoms. They're all beautiful.
oh, that's right. That's
Yeah, they
right.
have a bunch of really cool museums, a lot of art stuff. You find an art hoe in your life. The one we
Yeah,
want to go to
no.
is Museum of Illusions. We've been to Art Tech House, which is like they do a lot of visual and performative sound stuff, and it's interactive, so you can. It's like an
Hmm.
experience. It's really fun. Obviously, the Smithsonian too, and those are all free.
Yeah, I love the Natural History Museum.
Yeah, it's one of my
I love
favorites.
seeing, yeah, all the animals and like the sea stuff because I love the ocean. I think the ocean is just mesmerizing. So I
Yeah,
love seeing all those like things with like the models and like the actual things and like the squid and the like, dude, squids. That is like they're the creepiest thing. Well, not
massive.
literally, but I know. Like and just I saw this stat of like the number of battles going on between a sperm whale and a squid happening like just literally right now as I'm saying this.
Yeah,
It's cool. And I yeah, it's just
yeah. I go
such
there
a
every year. It's one of my favorites, and I like to. One of my favorite exhibits that they've had for a couple years now is they've had a couple Egyptian mummies and also artifacts in general. So
yeah.
those are cool to
Yeah.
see in person. They have the Hope Diamond, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
They also the Air and Space Museum is cool. You can see the famous white space shuttle, which from whatever mission I don't remember what that is. And then they have the
But
international.
that one's been closed for a while though, right?
I haven't been there in years, but I don't
Because
know.
I'm pretty sure like they've just been doing work on it for a couple years.
They may be revamping. Excuse me, revamping it. But the Hirschhorn is a little bit too pretentious for me. A lot of stupid modern art shits in there, but it's fun just to walk around and see what the deal is.
I went there
Spy
today because we're
the
painting
Hirschhorn.
it. Yeah, we're painting it.
Oh, it's a cool building though. The way they have it laid out, the circular building, the way you walk through it.
Looks Yeah, it looked cool on the outside.
Yeah, there's international or
Um,
the International Spy Museum, which is cool. They have to pay for that
never
one,
s-
but the
never
one that
been to that one.
annoyed the shit out of me, and I have to say it, a lot of like Christian museums are fucking scams. I went to the Bible Museum because we were doing it for. I was trying to find. I don't remember what project it was. It was some art project for college. It was art history project, so I chose to go to the Museum of the Bible in DC. I don't remember if you had to pay for it, but the reason why I wanted to go there is because they claimed to have authentic pieces of the Dead Sea Scroll, and they all ended up being fake.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah, and they had a lot of facsimiles. There wasn't really any. There were very few actual artifacts that were in there, and I mean, it makes me wonder if the ones that were, they're probably fakes too, and it's just a bunch of scams that they fucking run. And they obviously like funnel money through donations, and you know how that works with religious organizations and shit. So I was very that one like made me really angry because it's like I never actually saw real pieces of the Dead Sea Scroll. And to be fair, that can pretty much happen to any museum, but it's like the majority of the museum because that was their largest exhibit. They had like 13 pieces of it or some shit like that. But they're very tiny fragments, but they're all fake.
Right.
It's like
Right.
god damn it.
Damn. Yeah,
So fuck that
I had a,
museum.
yeah, I had a friend from the youth group. They took a field trip over there. I didn't go, but they told me they're like, yeah, we were kind of disappointed.
Yeah, and they just give a lot of just incorrect information and just like they make up dates and shit or they make up sites of where people have claimed to be and it's just like it's just a lot of guessing and it's just you can tell when you walk in there it's like this doesn't feel like a real museum. This just feels like it's a paid fucking exhibit of nothing. And they give you this bookmark like you were born 2000 whatever years after Jesus or some shit and it's just like this is so dumb.
It actually is kind of cool, but
I don't know. It's
I
just
don't
the
know.
fact that like you don't have a correct year because of all the changes in calendars and all that shit. So it's like the fact that they think that they can give you a semi-accurate date after when he was born is just fucking ignorant at most. I'm
They
sorry, at
can
least.
because there's evidence like they know when Jesus was born. I forgot when specifically. They know it was not in December. Like he was not born on December 25th, but
It's probably springtime. I think was when they estimated him to be born.
something
If
like
you,
that. Yeah, because
yeah,
like the actual names we have for the calendar, um like there was originally 12 months, right, in the Roman calendar before the Catholic Church completely revamped it and made the most badass calendar ever. Um
I feel like
but
the Romans made a better calendar. It made more sense. It was more
no, it
organized.
didn't. It doesn't matter if it made like the ones that the church made. It was literally scientific. Like it made sense. Like because it followed. They actually sat down and studied like how the patterns of the sun and the stars, and then realized, oh, this is actually how the world works.
None of the fucking names of our months line up with the month that or the number of the month that it is.
I know, but that was just inherited
And we
just
have an
from.
unequal amount of days and they do leap years really strangely like it's a very inaccurate way to fucking construct time so I don't think it's more
It's,
scientific than what the
it
Romans.
is though. Yes, it is. There's not 12 months. Like they were like. You
What
see
I'm
what I'm
saying
saying?
was a
Like
more
like
even categorization of the months.
Well, that doesn't matter because with the calendar that the church produced, they literally figured out how to like measure a year and all of these other units of time that like other like civilizations before they didn't even like know what that was.
I don't know. I mean, it's obviously the one we all follow now, but I was actually looking at this society. They call them the Asgardians, and they want to be the first civilization to live on a space station. And their goal was by 2025, but or maybe 2035. Regardless, there's no fucking way it's gonna be that soon. But they're yeah, it's just a bunch of utopian World Financial Group fucking bullshit, or not World Financial Group. That's a pyramid scheme. What's that one European goddamn what the fuck are they called? The Economic Forum. Do you know those guys?
I heard
The
of
Great
that.
Reset and all that shit.
Like what is it about? I've heard the name. I don't really know what it's about, but all I know
They
was like it was some like meeting they had where it's just some like just I don't know.
it's a conglomeration of the richest people on the planet basically delegating what is allowed to happen in society so they get to pave the way for economics, what you're allowed to view in the media and the news, kind of more oligarchical, and then with the way we run it now, just more blatant and open about it. But they're basically their main premise that got everybody pissed off was their slogan is like you'll own nothing and be happy. So
Oh,
the fact
that. Oh, yeah.
stuff
Like
like
you'll
that,
own less and be
the Great
yeah. I'm like,
Reset, the Great Economic Reset, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other shit that's been speculation, but it's just anytime a group of fucking one percenters come together and want to police the world, it's not a good idea. Anyway, that kind of
right.
premise was with this. I think they're the Asgardian group, but they were saying that they were gonna reset the calendar to something that was very scientific, like statistically down to the way the sun works in conglomeration with the planets and all that. But I just think it's funny that they're just trying to create the first space civilization in a very short amount of time, like a Kickstarter fucking campaign. But they got sovereignty from the UN. I think they're technically their own nation now, which is interesting.
Okay. I don't know how much. I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever.
It's pretty ridiculous, but I don't know.
It is ridiculous. Um, but yeah, like so there was 12 months in the old Roman calendar, so that's why like December, like the deck, it was the 10th month, and then oh wait, no, sorry, yeah, there was only 10 months. That's
I was about to say we have
I
12
got it
months
wrong. Yeah,
now.
yeah, we have the 12 months is what we have. That's what we figured out. Was in the actual year of the Earth revolving around the sun in one time, and then yeah, so like December was like the 10th, October was the 8th, right? Because the oct,
Yeah,
it
the
just it
fucking
like
names match the months.
right. It's pretty cool when like when you're like when you figure that out when you're like a scholarly person, you know.
Yeah.
I love those. I love just hearing like about those things and finding out all of those different and why we call things certain things and it's interesting. I am fascinated by like academia and just like the scholarly world, you know.
I what I don't know is obviously there's been recorded history like that did I don't know, and this is because my brain just does not work on a timeline level. It's hard for me to grasp, especially when you're talking about thousands of years, how long of a time that actually is. But did we calibrate
Yes.
ever from that switch in a modern context when we look back at how far or how long ago something actually was? Do we take that into, I'm sure somebody takes that into account, right?
Like what's the question
Going from 10
exactly?
months to 12, you obviously there's going to be a miscategorization in time because you're switching,
Oh,
like a
well,
year was
yeah, that's
shorter.
why. No, yeah, but that's why like they use the Gregorian calendar because like they can say like it was this many years ago, not because like and they're saying like it's this many actual years, not this many, however, whatever that culture had their calendar as. So like like they're very good at telling like and like they say like when they say like it was this many years ago, they mean like actual Gregorian years.
Because I forget that most people make that distinction. I just every time I read something, it's like, oh, this was a couple hundred years ago. This is a couple thousand years ago. Like I
Oh
guess
yeah.
past what? Like when do we even start adopting that calendar? Like
Yeah,
what
let me
year?
say I want to say it was before the turn of the millennium, but sorry, like the first millennium, but let me see. Gregorian calendar.
I guess 1582.
When did it start? Yeah, 1582. As a reform of the Julian calendar. Okay, that makes sense.
So it's not even been that super long ago that we switched to this calendar.
Yeah, but that's cool though that it was like because that I mean I just I that makes me trust it a little bit. I'm not saying I wouldn't trust it otherwise, but just kind of being like, oh hey, yeah, like they were more sophisticated. It makes sense that they were able to do the science at that time to know like and then study and like you'd use astronomy to figure out what the deal was with the time and the days and everything.
Yeah, I've never really looked into this. I'm actually very so conversion between Julian and Gregorian calendars. Julian calendar is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar, so to convert from Julian to Gregorian, add 13 days, pretty much. So I guess it's not that far behind. But I figured like over hundreds of years that would just add up. I don't know. I guess I'm bad at math. I guess it's
Yeah.
a consistent change, so it never kept changing. So I don't fucking know, but I guess it's not super difficult. So there's no need to have a philosophical ponder about it.
Yeah.
We learn
Okay.
something new every day.
That is true. Oh, this is cool. Okay. It says the Gregorian calendar, also known as the Western or Christian calendar, is the most widely used calendar in the world today. Its predecessor, the Julian calendar, was replaced because it did not correctly reflect the actual time it takes the Earth to circle once around the sun, known as a tropical year. Okay. Oh yeah, it's saying like the Western and the that makes sense because I remember my brother told me in China you have like two birth certificates that has like the Western day that you were born, and then you have like the Chinese calendar day that you were born.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know how the
saw.
Chinese calendar works, but
I think the most what they call them solar years. The actual solar
yeah,
year is the legitimate way to do it. I mean, it's all categorization, so it's not like the shit fucking really means anything.
right.
But
Oh, the way that Japan does it, I thought was pretty cool with where it's like it does it around like the year of like the certain animal, and then I don't know if it's related to the Chinese one,
I don't know. I mean, you could spend hours going back and forth, fucking categorizing the same shit.
but but that's cool though how we're interested in like recording things as human beings and like keeping things in order. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't even remember how fucking leap years work, so it's not like I even pay attention to this shit.
Hmm. Yeah. I
But
don't even okay. I don't even understand what a leap year is.
I've probably been told a couple times and like, oh, cool, and then I just never use it because I don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah, man. But yeah, dude. Like
Watch all this shit be
time.
wrong too. Like, just quit googling on the side. Like, all this fucking shit's wrong. It'd be really funny.
I mean, I'm
Moral of
sure
the
that
story here is that I don't really give a shit and I don't really know.
I mean certain scientific concepts have been disproven, so I don't know. You know?
All I know is that with the Julian calendar, if it's not, it's less accurate to an actual solar year, the shit just lined up and it was easy to categorize and it made more sense. But guess it wasn't cosmically accurate.
Yeah. Um yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson said that on Joe Rogan. He said how he was like even if like the he's like I'm not even sure, but even if like the motive for correcting the calendar was just to figure out when the Sabbath was, either way, like the science is good, right? So I was like, oh yeah, thank you, man, for telling the truth.
He's
Wait,
a
oh
what?
yeah, I was gonna tell you on the podcast his take on like why he doesn't do drugs or like psychedelics or anything like that.
Have you mentioned? I
Um,
feel like you've mentioned it here before, but I don't remember.
so he thinks like because Joe Rogan asked him like, why don't you try psychedelics? That'd be really cool because you're like a science guy, and he's like, when you look at like how um like barely the human brain can even function just on its own, and then you take like he's like look at optical illusions. That's like a you're literally it's like your brain playing tricks on you and your eyes playing tricks on you, right? So it shows how like just weak that like our senses are
Yeah.
in a way. So he says like I want to see things as real and and crystal clear as I can, and I don't want anything that could slightly inhibit my ability to do so.
Especially because aging is the one that'll really get you, because your world just slowly deteriorates around you, and hopefully the technology gets better when I get older, because that scares the shit of me. Like, I don't want to. I don't like knowing that like shit just keeps getting worse and worse as time goes by. It's like, fuck, man.
That's what
I
they
want it to age like wine. I want to fucking like I want shit to be
Yeah,
better.
dude. That's
Fuck.
what they want you to believe so that they'll take some bullshit medicine and make a lot of money.
Yeah, it's like nothing really gets better. It's just a codependency, like we've said before. But
Yeah.
um,
Things will get
I
better when you decide the better.
I kind of have a similar view. Like I do. I mean, I guess really the only thing is like alcohol, but alcohol doesn't really blur my senses. It really just like I'll stumble a little bit, but like my vision doesn't get blurred, my speech doesn't get blurred, but I just act really stupid. But I feel like I'm more in
Hmm.
control. But I don't like feeling loss of control of my senses. So like seeing hallucinations or feeling like there's shit in the room that's not there. Like I don't like that at all. That doesn't sound like a good time to me.
No, exactly. And I'm just like,
Yeah, and a lot of
um,
cultures believe that the when the DMT gets released into your brain, obviously you're experiencing hallucinations, right? But a lot of people are trying to figure out if it has any sort of consciousness in some sort of existence somewhere. So it's interesting to see what the science will have to say about that in the next couple of years, especially as it gets more accepted, psychedelics into the
yeah,
mainstream with microdosing as medicine and all that other shit.
yeah. I know DMT, as I understand it, it's like so I know we produce it naturally in our heads, but like
Yeah,
isn't it like that feeling you get when you're sleeping, right? Like there's that
I
kind of dreamy, like really horizon like kind of like way of like just like like that state of because like sleep I know is like you're not thinking anymore. It's just all like just it's just relaxed and stuff like that. Like your brain, I mean, it's your brain's functioning, but you're not actively using it.
I
So it's
think
kind of
it gets released during REM sleep, or at least a lot more during REM sleep. I think a little bit of DMT gets activated. Yeah, I know some people. I don't know too much about like physically taking DMT or ayahuasca, which is DMT mixed with some other herbs to have a very specific effect on the body, and I don't think it lasts as long too. But the whole point is you're supposed to have some sort of out of body experience. You're supposed to go on some, all the neckbeards in their spiritual journey have some sort of thing that they see, or some people see aliens. Some people see the what are they called, realm gnomes, or some trippy little garden gnome things from another dimension. So some people see terrifying things, or they but I mean, the reason why they're using it as a medicine because that plus the psilocybin that's in mushrooms, it's supposed to rewire your brain in a more positive light if you have a good experience. So trying to treat it with PTSD and depression and all that other shit, trying to physically rewire your brain. But I don't really quite know past that what you're supposed to experience on DMT because I know sometimes on mushrooms you just feel really happy, but then if you take more of them, you start getting audio and visual hallucinations. And I don't know what it takes to go on a full trip on mushrooms. I don't know.
yeah. Um, I'm looking at the DMT art. A lot of the
Just
shit I'm
Tool
like,
album covers.
it's cool album covers, but some of the stuff I'm like, okay, actually no, some of the stuff does. Like there's some stuff from like, okay, that's creepy. Like I don't really know if I want to like be seeing that when if I want to go on a good like experience. But like some of this, I'm like, okay, that looks peaceful and like
Yeah.
really calm, you know?
Yeah, and the idea of losing control doesn't really scare me too much, especially if I'm in a safe environment or in like a scientific environment. But it's just like the physical side effects that I don't know that'll have in my body. That's really the main thing. And I think for
Yeah,
the
and
most
like on
part,
your,
DMT is
yeah.
relatively safe. I think like if you take too much of it, your heart rate just accelerates, and that might be bad for some people. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't think DMT is a super dangerous drug, but with everything, there's obviously side effects. But
Where do
it's not
you
like
even like, where do you get it? Like I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know what natural compound has it where it grows. I think some people
Because I'm like,
do they
what does
smoke
it
it? I know
come from?
ayahuasca you drink it, but I don't know what you do if you just take regular DMT if it's oral if you smoke it or I don't think you inhale it or inject it.
Yeah, I know like some people like you smoke it, I've seen, but
I don't watch enough Joe Rogan to know what a bunch of shit about DMT.
right, he goes in extensive detail about that. But
Yeah.
like there's that I don't know if it's DMT or like what if it's psychedelics or mushroom or whatever it is. Like there's just like that right and like I've never done any of that stuff, but I can definitely see the appeal that those things have, and like the feelings that they conjure up, like just those kind of like like just those horizons, and like just those like vast scenery kind of. It's do you kind of know what I'm getting at? Like you see it a lot in like the Buddhist kind of art when you're in just like just those waterfalls and like the fields and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's one of those life imitates art, vice versa, fine.
Right,
But
and it's not just in Buddhist stuff or Hindu stuff. It's in like a bunch
yeah,
of it's everywhere in the world, right? You can
yeah,
find it
I
in
don't
what
know.
you could yeah, like you can find it in Western stuff as well. Like when you see just like paintings of like the Jerusalem or Rome, it can
Yeah,
sometimes conjure up those same feelings, right? But I yeah, and I get the appeal that it has, um, right? And I really
yeah.
do like that aesthetic.
Yeah, the overall point is to just rewire your brain in a positive way. Just that's how it affects you, and that's why people get really pretentious about their growth into higher consciousness or their spiritual journey or whatever dumb shit have you. But I don't know if they can find a way to make it therapeutic and actually, and I don't know how prevalent it'll be because that'll be the death of um, most psychiatric drugs that just make you numb or just don't actually solve your problem. So if this actually fixes your problem, there's no way that they're going to sell it, or it's just going to be ungodly expensive. Like, no, your health insurance won't cover this pill. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like they do with cancer shit. So I don't know if it's as helpful as they say, but I don't know if it is. I hope that that's the case because I feel like most people need a positive rewiring in their fucking brain.
Yeah. Dude, I'm still looking at this art.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that go into depth about DMT aliens and how you're in tune with the frequency of the universe and you're contacting higher beings. Or some people think that legitimately talk to real conscious beings, not just hallucinations in your head. So I think people are actually doing research on that. So it has enough credibility to the point where they're looking into it. At least I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, Joe Rogan's talked about how like you kind of see literally everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like you literally see everything.
Yeah, and it kind of goes into the same concept, and I haven't read it fully, but the CIA was really into astral projection, trying to prove it had some sort of real life consciousness or real effects somewhere in quantum physics. And I don't know if it's been a while since I didn't read it, I just glanced over it, but they did some experiment with, they had two people in separate locations, they didn't know where, and they tried to have them astral project and connect to each other and relay numbers back and forth. So I think they did experiments like that. So there is some interest into like
Yeah,
a
but did that
collective
actually did that work?
consciousness. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. It's you never know with the CIA because they're always prone to making up bullshit, and they
Right.
declassified it. So
Yeah,
how interesting can it be if they declassified it? I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, it's something Neil deGrasse Tyson talked about how like he said he doesn't believe in out of body experiences and how because he said like like the way to conduct the experiment would be similar to how you were saying how like he said you would need to have like if they're in the hospital room you would need to have a piece of paper it like put in a place that like they could only see it if they were um like in the actual position that they claim they're in and that they haven't been able to say what was actually written on that piece of paper. um I mean I don't know, I mean I've never had that kind of experience. I'm sure it is real. um
Well, yeah, I mean, what you're feeling is real to you. It's just a matter of fact of like, is it just your
right
brain?
right
Is
the
is your
the
is your brain making chemicals, or are you actually tuning into some sort of dimension or some sort of consciousness
right that
somewhere? Right, that's the
yeah that
difference.
that's the question, yeah.
And I don't know, like in my head, realistically, it sounds kind of far fetched, but I know I'm open minded to the point where like maybe, because maybe that is like obviously everything is frequency and vibration, so there is a higher consciousness out there, and we're able to tune into it on a micro level, and it takes that chemical in our brain to tune into it. Then, I mean, it would make sense to me, but I don't know. I mean, the fact that people have similar experiences on DMT is a little fascinating. It's not just random hallucinations. A lot of the time, it's a very similar experience that people have.
Right. Yeah, that's what begs the
So
question.
that's a little bit interesting. It's kind of the same thing with like sleep paralysis demons.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
So, and that sounds scary as fuck. I hope I never have sleep paralysis.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah, me too.
the topic really does interest me because I hope that there is some sort of higher vibration out there that we can tune into, or that's where our consciousness goes when we die. Like I
Yeah,
really hope this isn't the fucking end. But I don't know.
heaven,
It's
dude.
interesting to see. Well, that might be the that might be the heaven frequency. That might be what you're tuning into. Who knows?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you might not. That might not be like that. Like, you might not accept that. Like, you might that like a lot of people wouldn't really necessarily take that answer with any sort of credibility. But like, um, that's just what I'm saying. I'm like with my faith and like the Catholic faith, like they provide an answer to that.
Yeah. So if it is that cool, I don't know.
Right,
The fact
right.
that like people it's enough to the point where they're actually doing real like scientific research into it to see what pops up. I'd be very curious because obviously that ties into aliens and higher beings and godlike deities and all that shit. So who knows what's out there in the universe? It's super scary, but also very cool. And I hope I get to experience something close to that in my lifetime.
Yeah, Jesus' second coming, dude.
The real legal alien.
That would be right. Yeah, because I'm like, bro, like, what would Jesus like come? Would he come as like what he actually looked like? Would he come as how we depict him in art? But also, I mean, there's a billion different depictions of Jesus in art, so I'm like,
It's definitely not
you
going to
know,
be the European depiction of Jesus.
no, but yeah, that's what it is interesting to me. Or I'm like, what if he can't? Because right, like every single culture depicts Jesus as that culture, right? So I'm like, what if like to the Europeans he looks European, and like to the Africans he looks African, and so on and so on. Like I think that would be really cool. But I'm just like, I don't. I mean, I don't know what he's gonna do, but
Going back to the fake artifact thing, the fact that the for the longest time they tried to claim that the Shroud of Turin was like his actual face.
what is that? I've heard that a billion times. I don't know what that
It's
is.
it's
There's
supposed to be allegedly the veil or the piece of fabric that was laid over Jesus's face when he died in the tomb and it left an imprint. It was supposed to be his face, but obviously they end up not being fucking real.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that. I
So it's like
forgot
it's
that
that
that was
all
what it
that
was
shit
called, but
they peddle all these fake artifacts like they're real and it's really annoying.
yeah. No, but wasn't that Noah's Ark they found that was real? I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think that was that's what I'm saying. Like they try to think they found all this important shit, but they don't have any fucking real data to back that shit up and it's all guesswork. So like I no, they probably did not find real pieces of Noah's Ark. I don't like I don't know. I feel like that'd be a way bigger deal if they actually did. But it's like how do you even prove that?
Apparently, like in the I think it was like in some YouTube short or whatever, like they found the ruins of the Ark, and then in the exact location that the Bible said that it stopped.
Yeah,
And in
but
like
there's
the
probably a million graves of ships up there. I think I saw it was like in some like mountains in Turkey or some shit. I
right,
don't know.
because right, and but it's like the thing I said with like the evidence that there was an actual flood in the whole world, right?
Yeah.
Um, shit, dude, I'm kind of getting sidetracked. I'm looking at a bunch of different. I mean, I went off the DMT art, and
You're
it made
getting
me go.
contact high from looking at art. You've gone down
No, but looking at art is so awesome, dude. Like so
turn into a
beautiful.
neckbeard.
Yeah. Um, now I went and looked at Jesus art.
Yeah, so there's been a bunch of places and they're like, oh, this is the core. I think I can't remember this one was where I was reading somewhere in
I think they do
Jerusalem.
have the Quran, like the original Quran, or I don't remember, because a lot of
No,
the stuff.
not the Quran. I was talking about like the courtyard where Jesus was tried in Jerusalem. I think. No,
Oh,
where did he get tried? Where the fuck was
those
that?
thing, a lot of those places, like they're very sure that those are real. Like they know all of the places like where Jesus walked and stuff like that. You can
Well,
go
because the
visit all that
Romans kept
stuff, but
insane fucking records, but I'm trying to. Where did they try
right,
him? Was that was not in Rome? That was in Jerusalem, right? Where did he actually get crucified? In
yeah,
Jerusalem.
in Jerusalem,
Yeah,
yeah.
so like the courtyard where he actually had his trial, I think they found, and that was like recorded to be like they did it during that day, and that was the actual courtyard that they used. So stuff like that would make more sense. But finding Noah's Ark, I don't think is ever like. There's no way you can prove that.
I'm sure there is a way. I just don't know if they've done it yet.
Like, how massive would that have to be? Like,
They no, it's very it says it in the Bible. I forgot why. Like I forgot what it was. It's very clear what the measurements of the ark was, and apparently the one that they found in the video I saw was actually the exact thing. Then again, like I don't. Maybe I have to go back and watch it. I was just kind of. I didn't like specifically look up like is Noah's Ark. It just kind of showed up, right? So I think you can see the kind of like way I look at these things.
yeah.
I mean, I would like it to be true, but I don't really know. Maybe I'd have to go back and watch it. But also, that's the thing. It's like even if it was true, like obviously, like the whole globalist agenda, like they're not going to want anything that validates like Judeo Christianity, right? So they're just going to suppress it and they're going to cancel and they're going to do everything in their power to make sure people don't see it. You know?
Yeah. So I'm looking at this arc thing. Apparently, they haven't even found any artifacts or any actual structure. It's just a shape in the mountainside that matches the description, I guess, of the dimensions. But
Oh,
geologists
okay.
claim it's just a rock formation. So I don't know if they've done any digging or if they did lidar or any of that shit. But like for right now, there's not even any wood or any evidence that there was a ship. It just is shaped like one in the formation on a Turkish mountain. So it's like I don't fucking know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I don't. But that's what I'm saying. Like they keep peddling and saying, "Oh, we found something," and it's just like you don't really have any evidence to claim that you found something, and that's not a like that's just like with most archaeology in general. Archaeology is such a fucking. It's a very interesting science if you can call it that, because there's a lot of guesswork and shadow and all this other speculation that revolves around, and people cannot agree to save their lives. So this is
It's
just
like
archaeology in general.
yeah, it's like paleontology, which I'm sure more people agree there, but yeah, where it's like it's fascinating to me how like we know I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just curious to know like how do they like know how old something is? It's so cool how we can figure that out.
I guess carbon dating is relatively accurate.
Right, but I just want to know how. It's just
Well, I don't know.
it's interesting to me, you know? Dude, I am looking at some bomb ass Jesus icons.
You should
Dude, I
type in Jesus DMT art, see what you get.
I don't want to do that.
Why?
Well, okay, never mind.
It's not sacrilege.
Let me see.
Mount Ararat.
It's kind of like Jesus mixed with like Buddha.
Is it a bunch of bright colors?
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. I don't like it. Um,
Uh, I guess
wait.
Turkish researchers are working on the mount believed to host Noah's Ark, so they're starting to dig. So let's see if they
Oh,
find something. That'd be
and
interesting if they find
how recent was this?
December of 2022. So,
Oh shit,
but this
man.
shit takes years. So
Oh yeah, no, but that's cool because like I was gonna say if this came out from like the 2000 or like if this came out in 1990, I'm like nah, this is probably fake.
yeah. But again, if they do find something, like it's a massive ship stuck in the mountains, if they actually do find like artifacts there, so regardless if it is Noah's Ark or not, if they do find shit, that'd be really cool. Like I guess and if they carbon date it to thousands of years ago, like specifically to the like 11,000 or 12,000 years ago when people are starting to claim that's when the flood happened, but I don't know. Not like mainstream archaeology or scientists, but people are trying to have a growing theory about the Younger Dryas hypothesis and the global cataclysm from an asteroid, all that shit around
Yeah.
12,000 years ago. But because I don't think it's dated in the Bible, right? There's just a story from long ago.
Yeah, I think because it's like well, so obviously we're all from Adam and Eve, and then well, no, actually we're all from Seth, I believe, because Adam and Eve had Cain, Abel, and Seth, and then Cain killed Abel. I don't know what happened with Cain. Um, but then Seth had children, and then every human being is descended from them. We
Right.
know. So Yeah, I'm pretty sure like they don't have an exact date for them, so I can't see why. Actually, no, I don't think everyone is related to Seth. No, because the teaching is that we're all descended from Noah, right? Because obviously he was the only person alive after all of the flood. So
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard. I mean, there's obviously parts of the Bible that have been proven, like the cities. I think was it Nineveh? Was that a city that was rumored to be fiction until they found it?
yeah, no, a lot of stuff in the Bible. Like historians, archaeologists are like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, and I feel like, but I think with something like Noah's Ark, that's a little bit harder to prove because that's a very like, there's a
It's
big
more
ass boat.
outlandish, yeah.
Yeah,
No, but
it's a
the
little bit
story itself,
outlandish.
yeah, it's a little more. It's like, yeah, like that's a lot harder to believe.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, but that'd be interesting if they do find this massive ship in the mountains of Turkey. Like, how the fuck did that get there?
yeah, right.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
right. It's like, I wonder how. Um, but I want to go back and watch The Prince of Egypt again. That movie is really good at depicting all of those like like the miracles and like the plagues and everything. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, I remember the Prince of Egypt being very nice, and it was very. It kind of obviously was around the same time as Atlantis and El Dorado, so I really love that animation style.
Yeah. Um, but the movie also just reminds me that like the Bible, like it's epic, right? Like it's got
Yeah.
some crazy shit in there, you know? Um, and like the movie's very good at depicting like it's not depicting as if it's like not real. I don't think that's what it's going for. But it just like embellishes everything, like with the plagues. You just see like the meteors just like coming down and like just destroying like the pharaoh statue. It's so cool, you know.
Yeah, and I and this is the one thing I love Bible stories. I thought they were always fascinating to me,
Yeah.
and I think that it's interesting that on a scientific like because obviously the biggest thing about obviously the Bible is like the Word of God, right? But just hearing the stories of the stuff like not from the Old Testament, like with all the outlandish stories, but like the ones that were counted as more historical records of what happened, and that's been corroborated by the Romans or other other civilizations during that time. I think is really interesting.
Yeah, because I know that there's other stuff. I don't know if this is like the only reason. I'm sure there's many other reasons, but like one of the reasons like they could confirm that a lot of this stuff happened in the Bible is because there was other like accounts outside of the Bible that it happened.
Yeah.
Like specifically Jesus. Like there's accounts outside of the Gospels that said he was obviously it doesn't necessarily say he's the son of God, but they can confirm he was a real person.
Yeah, I
Like
think evidence shows that he. I mean, it is very. I think it's. I think it's a. I don't think it's a controversial statement to say that he was a real person because
I
it.
think most
Yeah,
secular atheists, like everyone, like agrees that he was a real person.
yeah. I think that's pretty much stated in mainstream now, especially because, like I said, because how good records the Romans kept. But there's also some people believe that the Romans made that all that shit up as a form of government control.
Right. But that's like the conspiracy though.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I know. But yeah, obviously with all the accounts and shit and all the records, it's pretty likely that he was a real person. But I just think it's interesting how you can look to the stories in the Bible to find shit and like find lost civilizations or places that you didn't think actually were real. So it kind of corroborates a lot of that, which is really cool.
right. Like the Bible is just this. It's the gift that keeps on giving because there's so much you can get out of it, right? Because like you can just read it for the actual story. You can read it for like just I want to feel like just the words of like I want to hear the words of the prophets and the words of the kings and the priests and like I just want to feel like the power of God and I want to just dive deep into like the culture and history of the Jewish people, right? And then
Yeah.
you can also just read it like a you know. I'm from another religion, so I want to see what this religion has to offer. Like, there's so many different perspectives you can view it from. There's so many different, like motives for reading it. There's and like I really think, I mean, it is the ultimate book, right? But what's interesting, I don't think I've explained this before, is that it's like called Bible because like biblioteca in Spanish means library, and they're cognates, right? Because the Bible is like the library of all of like the divinely inspired books, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like it's not like the one book, but it's like the one library of all the books, which I think is pretty cool.
Another thing that fascinates me is I really want to read the books that were taken out, or more of the. I don't. They haven't found all of the Dead Sea Scrolls, I imagine, or they keep
What?
finding more.
I can't remember. I know they found those not that long ago.
But
Um,
regardless, I think there are some. And then you were when we were talking about that before in the last podcast. There's a lot of books that have a lot of contradictory claims about Jesus and his life and how he died. Um,
oh yeah, like I mean, there's tons of books that are out there, like because there's tons of gospels outside of just the four that we know, like the four true gospels. But the question is just not like is that part of the well, like I mean, is the question is part of the Bible, but um,
well, it's not part of the. I'm just saying like the ones that the Catholic Church took out, or the other extra parts of the Dead Sea Scroll that we can't find, or the ones that are new that are coming up.
no, but they didn't like, and I've told you this before, like they didn't take anything out. They just said like this is not part of like the actual divine canon. Like it's a book you can read, but it's just like a book in the sense that like it's just like reading like Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Like I said, oh yeah, it just didn't include it or whatever the factor. I don't know if they were found after the fact and they just said no, this isn't part of it. But I don't know however it came down. There's obviously more books to it than the modern version that we have, right?
Right, yeah, like it has like things have been like, yeah, like yes, like this was not the intention of, like this was not like through the like the power of the Holy Spirit, like the church could figure out like this is not meant and this is meant.
Yeah,
Um, which I also think is really interesting. But I know a lot of the stuff that was famously determined not canon. I know you can read. I've never actually read it. Like Enoch, I know is the really famous one.
yeah. Enoch is I think the biggest contradictory one.
I don't know what's in there, but that is like and then there's like Maccabees. So the Catholic Bible has Maccabees 1 and 2. I know the Orthodox put 3 in there for some reason.
Yeah.
Which I love the story of Maccabees. I think that story is incredible.
I haven't read it. I'm gonna get. This kind of inspires me to get back into. I love ancient history and all this shit, and I haven't really dove into this side mainly because I feel like there's a lot of. I mean, just in general, this whole field is just filled with contradictory and conspiracy and just overall just dogmatic guessing. So it's even hard to know what to believe about our ancient past. I don't know if I've talked about that before, but um,
Yeah, but I guess that's why it's cool to live in a day and age where we have the Bible and it's like, yeah, you can just read it.
yeah.
Which
The one
obviously
thing.
like, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, no.
I mean, obviously, like someone like from my perspective who's Catholic and who really believes and is really confident in the truth of the Catholic faith. Like, I understand why you could just read the Bible back in the day, but in other words, like I mean, it's a trade off, right? But in the other words, it is still cool that like anyone could just read the Bible.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I don't know. I mean, my issue is strictly like it's. I mean, it's not a secret that they do straight up make up bullshit and just I don't not even like when scripture just like I said with the artifacts thing or the way that they funnel money or just using divinity as a tool to just envelop control. I don't know. Like it's hard. I mean, obviously there's scientific backing up of stuff that happened in the Bible. People are not going to believe just the spiritual aspect of it, but I mean, that's not really meant to be proven. It's meant to be just lingered on faith, right? But if it makes sense, it makes sense. I just think that it's interesting how we can there are definitive things that we can prove from thousands of years ago. But again, I don't know. This like the artifacts thing really pisses me off. because it doesn't help, it doesn't help anything. Like it just makes your side look more scammy and unreal, and it just I don't know, like I and this is a problem just with, not even with Catholicism, just with anything in general. Every like religious museum that I've been to, it's all just seems like it's just utter bullshit. The way that they present everything, it's just what is the point of this? And my real guess is that they're just using it to fucking funnel donations and just trick people into, it's like giving money to the church kind of shit. And I think it's just done on a more business level, and it irritates the fucking hell out of me, especially if they don't do any actual mission work.
Right, yeah, I know we both
If they're
agree on
literally
that.
just buying their fucking mansions and private jets and literally just scamming people for no fucking reason, I
Yeah,
hate that so much.
I don't understand how that's like allowed to be a thing. Like it should make sense. Like for in order to like, I don't understand how the process works, but I assume like you have to qualify for like being a religion. So I want to know like what are the qualifications? You know?
I'm sure it's easy to do because most people can do it. They can claim a lot of religious exemptions for shit, and people can do that. Um, I don't know, but the I think the courts are starting to crack down on these fucking pastors that are living lavish lifestyles.
Yeah, like the guys you're showing me.
Yes, it's like if you're gonna prove to the government this was a donation, what are you doing with it, kind of thing. So
Right, he said like Jesus would have wanted this.
yeah, so I think the biggest distinction is these guys kind of like the MLM bullshit. They have they sell all their gay ass merch. They have their books. They have all their TV programs, or their T-shirts, or whatever the hell, right? So like they're getting rich off of that shit too. So it's like I guess they're reporting that as a reason for their lifestyle when probably the majority of it comes from donations. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways around the law. There's loopholes. All this legal shit that you have to do. I assume you hire people to do this shit for you, so you can not have to worry about it. But I think they're starting to crack down.
Right. It's like my dad said he said it was like it's like being in the Catholic hierarchy. You don't even need to be Catholic.
It's just, especially like in rural areas, like when you drive through a whole town and the whole town looks like shit except for the really nice, clean brick church building that's in there. It's just like it just gets ridiculous to a point.
I guess I never really seen that, but
Well, it's like, yeah, they take the money
I'm
from the
sure it's
community and they
there.
they
Yeah.
don't. I mean, obviously, I mean, some churches do food banks and drives, and they do a lot of communal shit, or they do housing. So obviously, it's not all of them. I feel like you should be tax exempted if you do actual charitable stuff, but not just funneling money to buy a lavish building or support your pastor's lifestyle. Like that's ridiculous. That's literally should just be illegal. It's just a scam, is what it is.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like that's why you notice that every shitty town you go in, a lot of especially most of the Catholic churches are very nice, lavish brick, nice interior. It's not run down like a shitty little Baptist church shack thing. But
Wait, but are you criticizing like the Catholic side too, or
I'm criticizing any church, Catholic or not, that uses money as donations to support whatever lavish lifestyle, and they don't really do any communal work. So like they're
yeah,
just
but no,
basically
but
taking donations for no fucking reason to just to have money, and
no, but
also
I
have tax free money too. It's not even, like that's what's really infuriating, is they don't even pay taxes, and I
no,
have to.
but no, right, right. No, that's what I agree. I I don't have a problem with a religion using money to make their church look nice. I have a problem with like, the pastor buying a mansion. That's like where it's like no. Or buying like a private jet.
They can make the place look nice. I don't know. I'm saying if they do all that stuff, but they don't actually do anything communal. Like that's just they just have a really nice building in the middle of this shitty little town, and they don't do anything. Like they don't hold food drives. They don't have any sort of housing. They don't do any outreach stuff like that.
Oh well yeah, then in that case, yeah. But
They're
also I
just
mean like
siphoning money off of whatever community that they're in.
right. But making the church look nice, I know you don't you probably would agree with me honestly. I had arguments with these people a lot. They're like, well, why doesn't the church like just donate to the poor? Why do they need to like spend money to make their church look nice? And I'm like, well, when they're spending money, who is that going to, right? Because you need to pay people to build the church, you need to pay people to paint it, you need to pay people to make all of the stuff in it. So it's like they need money to employ people, right? So that's why I don't have a problem with like tithe. like I mean, obviously, as we talked about for other religions, it doesn't necessarily go to the right place, and obviously, it's never all 100% going to go to the right places. But um, that's why I'm fine with like a church looking nice. I mean, unless, like you said, if it's like you go to a town and it's like there's nothing else there, yeah, I bet that's
Yeah,
not
when
that
you're
great.
in a small community and the only nice building in the whole place is the church, I feel like that's a problem because they're just siphoning money from the community. Like, yeah, if you go to like anywhere in Northern Virginia, fine, make the church as nice as you want. You get money, millions of dollars in donation, whatever. People are going to voluntarily give their money because they're burning a hole through their pocket or they're lobbying or some other dumb shit. But like when you're taking money from people that are already poor, just as a and they're using the guise of giving money to Jesus, like that's just fucking, it's just sick to me.
Well, I mean, some people do want the church to look nice.
Yeah, but it's just like it's they have a divine price tag to it. It's like it's not even about making your it's like you're paying your devotion to God through earth money to earth people. It's really just a stupid fucking way that they think about it. And like I said, you know, all these people that dress in suits, they want to donate money so their kids can have a good education to go to whatever gay ass school, fine. But like for people that are coal miners, they work some shitty ass job in some small town that's just gonna be decrepit, but they're still donating money to their church. Like that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, if you pull those people, like most of them like doing that. Like poor people on average are a lot more religious than rich people.
Yeah, that's how a scam works. You make people think there's value. It's the same thing with any scheme, Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme. You take the money and run and pretend like you're getting an actual thing from it, but you're not. That's why I think it should be illegal.
Yeah, but a lot of these people, like I said, if you survey them, like I don't really think they care. I mean, and then again, it depends on like where the money's actually going, and it's like, and in what are they doing in conjunction besides just like buying the stuff to
Yeah.
repair the church, right? Well, obviously,
Yeah,
I
like I
mean,
said, if they're
if
if
you
they're
need to
paying to
repair,
employ
yeah,
people, so that gives jobs to the community. If they're doing any sort of like food or shelter shit or outreach or help build things, that's fine. Like donate as much money as you can to actual programs that they sponsor. That's no problem with that. That's fine. But if they don't do that shit and they literally just make the you're donating to keep the church fucking renovated, then that's just retarded.
right. Um, so then I guess we do agree.
Yeah.
Um, because like obviously, so the church needs money for multiple reasons. Well, number one, like they need to maintain the buildings, right? And they also need to maintain like because obviously like the Catholic Church employs tons of people,
Yeah.
right? So they need to pay their workers,
Yeah,
right?
they
Because they
got
have
bookkeepers, yeah, all that shit. Yeah. I
oh
understand how
yeah,
that works. Yeah. That's all well and good. That's fine. Yeah, employing people in your community, that's obviously not a problem.
right. Um,
Because if the donations just went to exclusively stuff like that, and like fine, if they already made a nice building, that's just historical and that's just how it is. But you have to keep the money to help the church run it. Like if they're just transparent about where the money goes, then
right,
that's
yeah,
fine.
right.
Yeah, I don't have a
Um,
problem with keeping something renovated and keeping your employees paid. That's just how life works. You have to fuck everything costs money.
right, yeah, no, that's true.
It's just
Um,
the fact that it's untaxable, and it's like the only thing, or not the only thing, but one of the few things that is untaxable. That's why people try to claim that they're a religion or try to get a religious exemption for a lot of shit.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like any church built now is not gonna have shit on the Dark Ages, man. That is like some of the most gorgeous architecture ever.
Yeah, good lord. I
Yeah, but I
don't know
mean,
them.
you can see
The
like it. What?
I was gonna say the fire that happened at Notre Dame, or Notre Dame.
Yeah,
How like the majority of the church was destroyed, right?
I think so. Like the ceiling and everything.
Yeah, so that's fucked.
Yeah, and yeah, it's sad. But um, other than that, I mean, I really think the investment in that paid off. You know?
I'm sure the insurance payout was handsome.
Right. Yeah,
Whoever the
but
fuck insured that shit?
right. But it's just it's just it's interesting the contrast, because it's like that as opposed like those that took like hundreds of years to build, right? And then
Yeah.
versus like now, where it's like, yeah, I guess everyone's employed, but it's like, yeah, great. Everything looks boring.
Yeah, especially like the and it's irritating because like and this is exclusively with like the mega churches like it I can't even just like you
Those are
just have
too
to walk in
much.
there.
Like
You just have to walk in there and experience it. It is just
I
like
don't want to. You've already showed me like the videos of it. I'm like, bro.
that's what we should do. We should walk into a T evangelical service and fucking review it and have you lose your mind. That'd be fun to attend one of those. Not if you have to. I'm not paying to get in. I'm not doing that bullshit.
Bro, you have to pay to get in?
I think some of them because some of them are so popular, they charge you like a ticket fee. It's like you're watching a show.
What? Bro.
But that's I don't know if that's any around here, but that's I think popular in Texas. And then obviously the donation. It's like when as soon as you walk in, then looks like they can buy their books and their merchandise and all that other
I know
nonsense.
the I know the Scientologists like notorious for like
Oh, it's a
just
money
like
cult.
the
It's literally like
right. It's like
another scam to funnel money, but except you got celebrities doing it, so it's like you get it on a massive scale. I
right.
can't believe they let a science fiction writer make a religion just revolve around giving you money. And people can argue that's most religions in general, but like they do it on a fucking spectacular level. It's crazy.
Apparent about it.
Yeah, they are apparent, and they're worse than the Mormons about it.
Oh, the Mormons are bad. I mean, okay, I'm sure the Mormons are bad about a lot of things.
Dude, more.
Um,
Oh my god. Yeah, the fucking Mormon Disneyland that's in Maryland.
no, I
You
didn't
ever
know
see
about
that
that.
thing? That temple, that massive temple that looks. It's just look up Mormon Temple Disneyland and it'll pop up.
I've seen some kind of church-looking thing when I drive on I want to say it's the 395, but I'm not
It's.
entirely sure.
I think it's off of 495 in the mountains,
495.
I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that that was like Mormon.
Yeah, it's this massive Mormon temple. It's like gold spires. What I think it's marble. No, not marble or concrete. It's some sort of white material with gold towers. It looks like the Disneyland castle, kind of.
Huh. Nice, dude.
But yeah, it's just like if there's any religions that funnel money, none do it better than the Mormons and Scientologists.
Yeah, the my sister told me that outside of so like there's the huge Mormon temple in Salt Lake City, right? Utah.
Yeah.
And then there's a Catholic church right down the street that has in front of the church the quote in the Bible that says, "And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book." Yeah.
Slam, got him burned.
I want to say some part, and I don't know. Don't quote me on this. I think some translations say like anyone who adds or subtracts. So it's like both, right?
I
But
don't.
that's
It's hard to get into
that's the
specific
thing.
semantics with
Like,
that stuff.
but like I don't well, right, but that's beside the point. But like I still don't understand like what even. I mean, I understand like the general overarching premise of the Mormon religion, but like it's literally just as simple as like some dude saw some rocks and was like, "Yep, that's what's written on there," and this is like, is that literally what happened?
I don't know. I just know that Joseph Smith, yeah, he basically found new books of the Bible or angels told him whatever the story is. I don't know the Mormon dichotomy, but I know they believe a bunch of weird shit about America being the center of things back in the day or something about the Native Americans, and they just have a bunch of weird lore. But I think like, but none of that is all that beside the point. It doesn't even matter what their scripture teaches them is like their ways of life are just so strange and like the way they can't do a bunch of shit and also like the polygamy laws that they have and all that other weird shit that their politics is so ingrained in Salt
Yeah,
Lake
I
City like
know. It's just
it's just
it's
like how does it get
creepy.
to that
Yeah,
point? And
it's
obviously
creepy.
money gets
Yeah,
to that point.
right. And it's like I know like obviously we're not supposed to judge, and I know it's like well look at your religion too. And yeah, I know. But it's like certain things like the Mormonism, I'm just like, like that's just not really good. It's kind of
I
really uncomfortable.
I'd say in like cult like activity, Scientology is at the top. Mormons are right behind them, and I think Catholicism kind of sits in this weird sect where it's like some churches do, some churches don't, kind of thing. Because I feel like
Right.
the couple that I've been to, it's not really been the same feeling. I feel like I've gotten different feelings, but I feel like you walk into any Mormon service or any Scientology thing, it's gonna be the same shit that they spew in the every service.
Wait, but then like the what is like even so like wait, so then the Mormons are Christian, but then like what's in the Book of Mormon? Like is it just like because like it's not part of the Bible, so then is it just a
No, it's
continuation
it's
of like
literally it's shit that Joseph Smith made up that he
well
claimed to have
I
found.
no I know
It's
it,
not a part of Christian. It's like
no
it's
no
basically
I
like
know it's all bullshit, but I'm just wondering like what is it claiming to be? That's what I'm interested. I
it's
know
claiming to
it's
be a
all made up,
truer
but
religion of Christianity, I believe, or an extension of, or like it's like a fan, it's like the fan fiction version. So it's like it's how it's supposed to be. I don't fucking know.
okay.
But
I'm
if they
looking.
do, I don't know if they claim. I don't think they claim themselves as part of Christianity. I think they think that they're the way that Jesus is supposed to be represented, or how it actually is, because Joseph Smith found it to be that way.
Yeah, they're like I want to say like Jehovah's Witnesses are similar in that way.
I don't know anything about
Um,
Jehovah's Witnesses at all, besides
I
they just
have
knock on your door like
right,
Mormons.
right. I have a friend who is, and he's actually like a normal dude. And he actually he doesn't like the sentiment that people have, like just that kind of. He thinks it's just kind of like a misunderstanding, and I'm like, yeah, I bet you're right. Because like I mean, the people who practice a religion don't define the religion, right? It's the actual religion.
Yeah,
Right. So I'm like, I'm sure you're right, dude. He's like, yeah, people think it's like a cult, and like when I'm there, I'm like, we're all just normal people, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you're right, dude. Um, Obviously, like I'm not saying that there aren't people that go to like Jehovah's Witnesses like services that are like really weird and creepy, but it's like every religion has that, right? Like every single institute, like you can find that anywhere.
yeah, but I feel
Um,
like with Mormons and Scientologists, that cult-like behavior is more institutional rather than just random people that you meet, or a specific sect, or a specific temple, or whatever the fuck they call them.
mhm, yeah.
And it's the isolation from ideologies around yours. Like your religion is the ethos of how everyone should be, and so like it's. I mean, obviously you can make the argument that everyone does that, but with them it's a lot worse.
With who you said?
With Scientology and Mormonism, I think Scientology is probably the worst out of all of them.
I mean, yeah, literally. Because at least, like, I guess with Mormonism, you have like kind of like, I mean, it's not Jesus really, because they don't even say he's like God. So it's like, wait, because it's like the whole thing is like, I don't understand how you could say you're Christian. Well, I know they don't claim to be Christian, but some people do categorize them as Christian. But I'm like, how could you say that you're Christian if you don't even like believe in the divinity of Christ? That's literally like what Christian means. Because it's like
It's like when you ask somebody what their opinion is on it. It's like this is just their version of what Christianity should be. I guess I don't know.
well, then again, like they don't claim to be but that's it. Just it
No, they
doesn't
don't.
make any sense. So I'm like, what is the point? Like, what? Because like every religion, right, has like their selling point, so to speak, right? Where it's like we believe, like every religion has a creed, right? Whether it actually makes sense or not, every religion has like the we believe in this, and that, and this is how we obtain like in a lot of like in Christianity's case salvation, right, or nirvana or whatever it is, whereas like I don't understand like what is like the pitch for Mormonism, like I don't get it.
Well, I guess I'm reading up. I guess they do believe that Jesus is the Son of God. They just believe a bunch of very specific shit about him, and I don't know.
Let me see. Okay, yeah, I'm looking this up too. Okay, how is
Because
Mormonism
the
different to Christianity? Its views on scripture, the nature of God, and the deification of believers, the deity of Christianity. Oh, I'm sorry, the deity of Christ and the Trinity, and finally salvation. Okay, it didn't actually explain any of those, but
Here, I got a better one. So there's 8 of the most bizarre Mormon beliefs, and this is from some random fucking article. I have no idea. I'm not. This may be all bullshit, but it looks interesting. So Mormons believe in eternal marriage, and they also believe that Christ, the Heavenly Father, and the Holy Ghost are separate beings.
Right, okay, so that's where they fuck up
And
tremendously.
the Book of Mormon says that Christ ministered to the whole world as opposed to what?
Oh yeah, like they think he went to like North America or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. America comes up a lot in a lot of their fucking beliefs, which
Right, because it's just it's such an American thing. Like no other country could produce a religion like this.
yeah. They also believe in donating 10% of their money to charity. Does that mean their church or legitimate charities? They pay a generous fast offering, which is a donation to charity once per month. They fast for 24 hours to show their devotion to God and donate the money they would spend on those meals plus a generous amount to charity. Mormons have a belief that everyone has a responsibility to research their family history. What?
That actually is pretty cool. But that's not bizarre. Like everyone does that.
They believe that innocent children are without sin.
Hmm.
Mormons dedicate more than 2 hours per week to church worship. I don't feel like that's that much.
No, but yeah, that's not bizarre. Like
Yeah.
2 hours a week. That's like if you count up the hours I'm in church, like I'm probably in there more. I'm not saying I'm better, but like that's just
Yeah.
that's
Well,
not normal. Yeah.
the next one is they serve in their churches without pay, often for many hours per week, which is, how convenient.
Right. Yeah.
Um, what is forbidden in Mormonism? Alcohol, tobacco, tea, coffee, and drugs.
Oh yeah,
So,
they can't have any of that shit.
gambling, they can't do. Profane language, nope. Occult practices, so Satan worship and any affiliation with the occult is banned. Sexual ethics, they believe that sexual desire should only be satisfied in heterosexual marriage. Sex is not only for having children, but as an expression of a
Ye-
couple's unity.
Yay! So they get right
Sex
about
out
something.
Sex outside of marriage is banned, and that includes any sexual relations before marriage or necking or petting.
Yay! Yay!
Sexual perversions are banned, and masturbation is highly disapproved of.
Dude, points for Mormons right now.
Bunch of prudes. Mormons think that chastity should be the dominant virtue among young people.
Nice. All for that, baby.
Young Mormons don't usually go out with members of the opposite sex until they are 16 years old.
Hmm.
Serious
Also,
relationships are then expected to lead to marriage and usually are delayed longer, expected to be chaste. Relationships are not allowed during the mission period.
hmm. Okay.
The restrictions on sexual activity are regarded as helping people's appreciation of the true value of marriage. How
Okay.
sweet. Obviously, they're
Okay.
against birth control, blah, blah, blah.
So
No
yeah,
homos.
they get it right about a lot of stuff.
Polygamy
Nice.
was practiced by some Mormons during the first 50 years of the church. The church ended the practice in 1890, although some Mormons outside the main church still practice it. So I guess
Yeah,
the traditionalists love to fuck a lot, and
yeah,
they want to have
that's
more than one woman, so that's their excuse. Like,
yeah,
oh,
that's
we have to have a sexual ethics of chaste. Fuck that. I want 3 wives.
right. That's where
And
they
fuck all of them at the same time.
don't get it right. Like they were winning some points. They were scoring, but then
Oh,
they got a huge penalty, like a huge 15-yard, no, more than that. They got like a 100-yard penalty with that. And they lost their whole touchdown. Like,
their views on abortion are obviously they're opposed to it, except in the cases of incest or rape.
mm,
Even in these cases, abortion is not automatically seen as the right course of action. Euthanasia is condemned,
mm,
so it's a violation of the commandments of God. However, they recognize that when a person is in the final stages of terminal illness, there may be a difficult decision to be taken. The church states that when dying becomes inevitable, death should be looked upon as a blessing and a purposeful part of an eternal existence. Members should not feel obligated to extend mortal life by means that are unreasonable. Infertility. I guess they accept. Artificial insemination by donor is not banned but not encouraged. Artificial insemination of single woman is not approved. Surrogate motherhood is not approved.
what's surrogate motherhood?
Like if let's say a woman can't get pregnant, so her husband takes a sperm, like gives a sperm sample, and there's another woman that is gonna carry the child,
Oh yeah, okay.
so it's surrogate motherhood.
Yeah,
So,
you can't do that.
organ transplants. The Latter-day Saints leaves decisions about organ donations and transplantation entirely up to the individuals to decide. So, they issued the following statement. Whether an individual chooses to will his own bodily organs or authorizes the transplant of organs from a deceased family member is a decision for the individual or the deceased member's family. The decision to receive a donated organ should be made with competent medical counsel and confirmation through prayer. Why do they even feel the need to add that? Basically, just like it's your own decision. Why do they need a doctrine to tell that you get to decide to fucking get an organ transplanted to you or donate one if it's through encouragement, competency, or prayer?
You know why? Because it's expensive, man.
Yeah. Suicide is wrong. However, the church recognizes that a person who commits suicide may not be responsible for his or her acts. Only God can judge such a matter, and Mormons believe that God will consider the person's circumstances and a degree of their accountability at the time of suicide. So, you know, you may be fine. You never know.
Oh yeah, because anyone can repent, even if you're falling down the bridge into the lake. Like, even like right before you hit the lake, like anyone
Yeah.
can have second thoughts and be like, "Yeah, I didn't want to do this."
Oh, here's one that you're going to love. The Holy Bible is not the Word of God.
Hmm.
It says, while we do not believe the Bible to be inerrant, complete, or the final word of God, we accept the essential details of the Gospels.
Right. I guess I might. Do you
The
understand like what I mean by that?
yeah,
Okay.
the Christian church is corrupted. They believe that the Christian church declined shortly after the deaths of the apostles and became hopelessly lost. Joseph Smith said that he asked God to show him a church to join, and God's answer was that their creeds were all corrupted, so he should start his own. Again, how convenient.
Right. Exactly.
Um, Obviously, the Book of Mormon contradicts the Bible in a lot of ways. Um,
Yeah, that's what it just doesn't.
yeah, they say that both God, the Father, and Jesus Christ have flesh and bones, but the Bible says God is spirit.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and they also said that Jesus Christ was God the Father's first creation, but according to the Bible, Jesus is the creator.
Well, right, because
They're
Jesus
all the
is
same.
God.
Yeah.
Right. And so like,
Jesus is the spirit brother of Lucifer.
what? Okay. No, you
Yeah.
lost me.
It says, since Lucifer is a created being, that means Jesus Christ created Lucifer.
Um,
Interesting.
um,
Yeah, so they say that Jesus was created by God.
yeah. I forgot because that was a question I had. I forgot what the answer was because like I asked like, does God love the devil? Um,
Hmm.
right? And
That's an interesting
I
question.
forgot. No, it is. Right. So the teaching is that God did not create evil, right? Because evil is just a rejection of God, right? Because like it's like it's our fault. It's like God didn't create evil, we did, right? By eating from the tree. Um, so I know the answer to that, but I just don't know like, what about Lucifer? Because Lucifer was obviously he was like the awesomest angel ever. Like he was awesome, but then he fell, right? Because he thought because he was like the I don't know if he was like the number one angel. He was pretty awesome. But then he eventually thought that he was better than everyone else, and then God was like, "No, you're not," and then he just got mad, and he's like, "No, I'm better than you, God." So I don't know. That's like the story, and then so I don't know because I'm like, does God love the devil and the demons? I I don't know. It is a. I'm sure there's an answer to it, but I don't know what that
Yeah.
is right now.
They also believe in baptism for the dead.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So the folks take their misunderstanding of this verse and build a whole doctrine around it. They've invested so much in this practice that they have become the world leaders in genealogical records. Interesting. Temple garments. LDS people who undergo the temple sealing ceremony wear special undergarments. They say these garments remind them of their commitment to follow Christ and that the garments protect them from harm. Oh yeah, this is the one I was talking about. So ancient North American civilizations visited by Christ is what you're saying, right? So they
Yeah,
claims ancient
yeah,
civilizations in North
yeah.
America, and they say that Jesus came to them, and they even commissioned a Department of Archaeology to investigate that. And they finally shut it down when it became clear that there's no evidence of these civilizations that were visited by Jesus. The burning of the bosom. Latter-day Saints believes is if
Um,
you feel the burning of the bosom, that it's right. Contrast how the Bible tells us to search the scriptures and to I don't know what that means. What is burning of the bosom? Like you have heartburn? Your tits
I
hurt?
don't know. I mean, yeah, that's what I assume it means, but I've never, I'm not familiar with the expression.
Burning of the bosom is like saying follow your heart. I don't get that. I
Oh,
guess it's
like your heart's the burning desire in your heart. I see.
okay. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it?
Hmm.
The repealed doctrine of polygamy. So this is their view on polygamy. Marriage between one man and one woman is God's standard unless he commands otherwise.
That's convenient if you ask me.
Exactly. That's very convenient. I like that rule. Let's
Yeah.
bring that rule here.
Right. You see, this is the difference between the actual understanding of God and the Mormon understanding of God, and a bunch of other interpretations of God. Right. Whereas, like, the way that Catholicism understands God is that God created the universe and he made the natural law and all of these other things. It's very orderly, and he is not going to act outside of his own law, right? So like I can't just say like, oh, like God's never going to ask me to go against the 10 commandments, right? Like God's never going to just suddenly say, "Yeah, you can start killing people," right? And it's not just okay because God says it, right? Whereas like you have like that connection of like, okay, God said it, like we know things are right not just because God said it, but also like you kind of have that thing like in your heart, like, yeah, that feels right, and also like just with the evil, right? Like there's not just like God is very clear in the Bible of like what is wrong, right, and what is sin, right, and it's like that's part of it, but you also have like the, yeah, like that's kind of bad. I understand what he's saying, right? But then it's like in these other religions, like Mormonism, it's like just God doesn't have like in Catholicism, God answers to his own reason in creation, right? But in other religions, God does not have to answer to reason, right? So
Right.
he's essentially just like this pagan like deity who just needs like sacrifice. Like, he's no different than any other like just pagan god you see in all these other cultures, and this is what made the Hebrew God different, right? But then now
Yeah.
like he's just literally this like it, yeah.
I don't know, I mean, it's hard to, like you said, argue that kind of metaphysical stuff, and I mean that's not even like for me. Like it's fun reading this kind of stuff because obviously like both sides will have their versions, like Mormon versus Catholic, and people can go back and forth and argue whatever. But the thing that I think is interesting about Mormonism is that Joseph Smith had his own translation, and the church doesn't really print it, and it's basically it's a version of the King James Bible that he messed around with, and he was trying to give the impression that prophecies were written in the old days, and I guess Bible scholars caught on quick, so it never really took wind, and it
Huh.
basically just said he just mistranslated a bunch of shit to fit whatever his narrative was. So they don't even trust his version of it. They just kind of the church just developed their own, I guess. So like
It's
his
like
intent was to deceive the reader, I guess.
it's like Martin Luther.
Oh, you think Martin Luther mistranslated a bunch of shit?
Oh no, he
Is
very
that the
did. Like,
consensus?
no, yeah, and the Protestants afterwards created like, they're like, no, 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 this is the actual Protestant Bible, because there's like the Bible that the Protestants use, right, which have about 7 books removed from the original Bible, and then there's that's the one that they use currently, right? But then there's the one initially that Martin Luther translated into German, and it's literally referred to now as like the Luther Bible because they know that it's like not it, right?
And there's Lutheranism too. There's a specific sect with that, I think, right?
Yeah, like there's the Lutherans. I know there's like the Lutheran Church, right? Yeah, so it's like, no, no, no. Like we are very confident, not just like Catholics, but everyone's like, yeah, Martin Luther didn't really do a good job of translating the Bible because he, like, when you compare him, like he changed a lot of things to like fit his viewpoint and how he saw things.
Interesting.
Right, and you
Yeah, I
know what?
guess I never looked at it from that angle. I just assumed that humans just did that for thousands of years, just taking their versions of it and mixing it and making it malleable to whatever they wanted to fit with their beliefs. So I figured that was just happened throughout time. It's just, especially with misuses and translation.
I'm sure, but no, like you're right. But I just think a lot of people like they just give Martin Luther like just like a pass, and they think that he was like a good person. I'm like, no, he absolutely was not at all. He did absolutely nothing good.
I don't know. My history is fuzzy on him. I just know what he basically just the Protestant Reformation, but beyond that, I don't really know much about him.
You know what he said about the Jews?
Probably something really funny. What do you say?
He said we should burn down the synagogues.
Hell yeah.
Just
That's crazy.
no, and it's like, but that's what I'm saying. Like people have like this just this general good view of Martin Luther, like that he was like the good guy. I'm like, no, he was not. He was
I
not a good man.
I
But
think it's safe to say anybody in history that people view as a good person probably wasn't.
yeah, exactly. But also, I'm like, when you actually look at his life, you really can't blame the way he viewed the church. And like, I mean, I get it, and like, I'm sure he was also like abused by his dad when he was younger. Some people even say he was gay. I don't know if that's true or not. Um, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that as like a bad thing towards gay people. That's irrelevant. I'm just saying like, nah, that just
Well,
it
I
just
assume
kind
a
of
lot of
makes sense.
tormented
But
people back then probably like had some sort of thing going on like that because obviously you
right,
can't
that's
function in society, especially back in that day.
right. That's what I'm saying. So it would make sense to me. Um, but yeah, it's just and also like just a lot of the priests around him, yeah, were terrible people. So like I don't blame him for believing the things he did. But yeah.
Oh, and here, sorry to go back. I'm just very enamored. I'm reading a bunch of other Mormon shit that's crazy. So this is the one thing that is, and this is why there's a lot of very specific, just crazy cults that are within Mormonism. And I think it's from this line right here. So it says, and again, this may not be true because I don't know shit, but it sounds like it could be true. And from all the, I'm very interested in cults, and so from all the Mormon and these aren't like obviously part of the Mormon doctrine. These are just people that are crazy and from this line right here. So in the Mormon faith, God is a mortal being that went through a process of exaltation to godhood. So there are many similarities between the Mormon faith and Christian denominations, but the main difference is that humans can also go through this process of exaltation to godhood, and this has led to many curious and bizarre rules that has been taught in the church. And I think that mindset that you can become that highly elevated godhead figure is the reason why these cults pop up. Like the one woman that believed that she could sense negative and positive energy to the point where she thought that everyone around her, like her husband and family and friends, were the negative spirits and basically killed them. And she was trying to start her own church because she felt like she had the spiritual power. There's a lot of bullshit like that.
That's fucked, dude. Um,
Yeah, but they can't go to the movies. They wear special underwear that turns white when they sin. That sounds cancerous. They don't read the Bible. Technology's forbidden. They don't let women give talks or hold sermons or any leadership position. Get fucked. Members of the Mormon Church cannot use birth control. Obviously, there's no dancing. They can't celebrate Christmas, Halloween, Easter, or birthdays. Interesting.
yeah, so
Can't
I'm
wear
like,
makeup, and you can't join the military if you're a member of the
right.
church.
I know that there's a lot of similarities to Jehovah's Witnesses. Like my friend told me that like, yeah, you can't join the military. He said you're not allowed to like you have to be politically neutral. Like I don't think you're allowed to vote for any elections. Also like the yeah, a lot of those rules where I'm just like, yeah, I can see why people have like this stereotypical view of like Christians of just like these people that are just don't want any joy in anything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like that makes sense for like for those kind of Christians, right? But I mean, you
Yeah.
can't just apply that to Christians as a whole, right?
No, and I think, and you talk to different people, they don't, because it's official doctrine. It's not even what they practice or what they believe in. They do their own thing, pretty much, is what I can gather, or they justify their actions, or they just repent for them, I guess.
Yeah. but
I
it's
remember
still.
this
Tell
was
me.
I can't remember. I was for the brief time had brief relations with a lady, and she was
Mhm.
like really religious, but I don't know if she was Catholic or whatever the denomination is, but she was highly promiscuous, and I remember I was curious about because I've usually never really gave a shit whatever people believed that whatever the contradicted, right? So I was curious. I was like don't you see this as a huge mortal sin, right? And I guess the fact that she said something along the lines of the fact that I can be like forgiven about it doesn't really matter. So it's like I can just keep doing it, I guess was her mindset.
It's like missing the entire point.
I guess I was like, okay, I guess if you're fine, I'm fine.
Right.
Sure, it's not a sin, whatever, I don't give a fuck.
Didn't you say like in like Family Guy or whatever? It's like, but it's like the military's in like Afghanistan, and they like right before they kill Osama bin Laden, he's like, "I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior,"
Yeah,
and he
before
goes to
they shoot
heaven.
him. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that
Yeah, so
is
I feel like a lot of people
the
have that view, like looking in, and also I've met a few people that are religious that also feel that way too.
that's the Martin Luther understanding of heaven.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make any
Well, I
sense.
thought that was more the Catholic version because it's like repentance and um,
No,
just
it's
Hail Marys and all that shit. It's like it's the cleansing of your sins. Obviously, under the guise of like you have to change your behavior. You can't just keep doing it. I get that, but I feel like people just view it as that and just still do it anyway.
no, because well, even if people do that, that's not what the actual doctrine of the church is. Whereas what Martin Luther said is that only faith is what matters, and like works essentially don't matter, right? So he said like the only thing that's required to get to heaven is that you believe in God, right? So then I'm like, well, okay, I believe in God, so like why am I not going to go to heaven, and right? And then also it's like demons believe in God, they acknowledge that he exists, so it's like they're not in heaven.
Yeah, they're on Earth directing shit.
Right, so that's why I'm just like it there it's not consistent, right?
Yeah,
But it's I still like that kind of humor that Family Guy does.
I think it's all fair game. I don't know. I
It's
most
funny.
most Mormons I've met have been just fake nice, and I fucking can't. And this is just because I can't stand most people in general. But like I don't like deeply devoted people in anything, whether it's a religion or their favorite band. I hate ultimate fans of anything.
You don't like me?
You're not like I don't see you as like a fanboy of it. Like you actually do because it's what you truly believe in. You don't have like a I don't feel like you have a dogmatic nature to it, especially when you talk to other people.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, because like there's people where like I mean, even if what they're saying is like could be true, right? Like they just say it in the sense that like they're literally just saying it the way they heard it somewhere, and they're not actually taking it and just saying it how they really. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying like a lot of what because a lot of even you would agree like a lot of stuff that religion gets like they get a lot of stuff right. So like, but they don't actually understand why that's right. It's just kind of it's right because that person said it, right?
I think they can be right for the wrong reasons. I feel like there's a lot of things that are just innately good and bad, and there's people that believe like pornography is a great example, right? There's scientific reasons why pornography is bad, and there's spiritual reasons why pornography is banned and bad, right? So there's different reasons why people believe in the same things, and I think that's just in life in general. So that's why to me on Earth, living right now, just focusing on what in my lifetime and the things that I can control, what objectively is a good idea, regardless of whoever on what side believes what version of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
in that way, then yeah, because like that's just how life is. Nobody's completely wrong about everything all the time. It's not one side versus the other, and I hate that view.
Right, because well, extremes are not always a bad thing, but it is I was reading this in this Orthodox ethos page. It was explaining how like it's like there's the two needles of the same thread, right?
Yeah.
That think that one is like they're just tugging on each other when they don't see the actual picture, right?
Hmm.
and that's the job of the church. Well, in this case, I mean, they weren't referring to the Catholic Church; they're referring to the Orthodox Church. But this is a similar concept,
Yeah.
and that's why like I trust in the church because obviously you know the actual like teaching of the magisterium and like the church for 2,000 years is fairly consistent, right? Like there's like then like the catechism of the Catholic Church is a great example. Like it's very sound, very consistent, and also like the Summa Theologia by Thomas Aquinas is beautiful, right? So it's like I believe in that. I trust in that to guide me, right? So that's why like I don't it like I mean it does matter because it causes scandal, right? But that's why like when people ask me, oh well, what about the Pope saying this? And I'm like, like the Pope can say whatever he wants about anything. Like he's a human, right? But that doesn't mean that like just because he says it, it's right or wrong, right? Because obviously, I think Pope Francis says a lot of stuff that's right. He says a lot of great things, right? But then he says a lot of stuff, and I'm like, yeah. But that's
To
the
me, there's a
thing.
difference between saying something that's wrong and just being intentionally deceitful under the guise of, a fucking scam, pretty much.
Well, that's
It's like,
still
I don't
saying
mind.
something that's wrong, though.
Wait, I missed what you said. What did you say?
Well, saying something deceitful is still really wrong.
Well, it depends on what you believe in. If you believe it to be deceitful and you say it anyway to deceive, then yeah. But if you believe the deceit as truth, then it's not as bad. So it just
I,
depends on how you say it.
yeah, I guess not.
And I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer to say, but I mean, it's just how, like, I feel like often there's a disconnect for people that have been scammed, and people think that they're part of the scam when they're just the victims themselves. But that's what they
Um,
believe in. So I think that's the biggest difference, is finding out people's intentions behind what they believe. So if like, I could talk to someone every day if they said every wrong thing in the book, but if their intentions were fine, it'd be more entertaining to me. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with them. I don't care.
yeah, okay, I
But I
see
hate
what you're
when people
saying.
are intentionally deceitful and they know they're being deceitful, but they hide it under some fucking guise like spirituality or whatever, or self help or any of that other shit.
Yeah, or God forbid Jesus, right?
I feel like a lot of people do that. And to me, that's what I was talking about, where it's like, I truly think taking his name in vain is acting like, or being deceitful in the name of Jesus. Like, I feel like that's really the biggest example of his name in vain.
Right,
Vanity.
exactly.
It's in the word vanity. Vain.
Right, exactly. Because you're using it as like
It's commodity. It's commercial.
right. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's a
That's why
it's a
my
product. It's a product. Yeah.
that's why my favorite quote from Kenneth Copeland: "Jesus wouldn't have flown commercial."
Yeah. Or it's a brand. I think that's a good way to put it. You're
Yeah, it's
branding
it's the
him.
Jesus brand. Yeah, it's the
You're
lifestyle. It's
branding.
the Southern American conservative lifestyle, and Jesus is the brand, and you're gonna give us money because that's the divine way. Because Jesus wants you to have a lifestyle. He wants you to have luxuries. If you believe in Him, you'll grow in spirituality and you'll grow in your finances. You give us $200, shit, Jesus will give that right back to you.
Yeah.
You win the lot. Go down to our lottery ticket sanction, and you can buy you and have a Jesus lucky lottery.
That's a great impression. But then again,
God, it's fucking.
I'm sure there's a bunch of Southern people that are just like proud to be Southern, and they're just like, yeah, we're Christian, you know.
You can be proud to be Southern, but if you go to a mega church wearing the guy's T-shirt, you're a fucking idiot. It's just, there's no way around it. But they're getting scammed, so it's like, how dumb do you have to be to get scammed, and how much, I don't know. I feel like I'm more, like I was saying, I'm more mad at people doing the scamming, but at a certain level, you have to take some responsibility for being scammed.
Yeah, it's
Especially like,
like
if it's like, how bad are you gonna feel for somebody that falls for the Nigerian prince scam? Your sympathy is gonna be a little bit lowered, because like, how fucking dumb are you? Or the people that think the IRS is gonna put them in jail because they're not gonna, you don't get $200 in Amazon gift cards. Like, what the fuck?
right, exactly.
Hey, boomers are the worst with this shit because they're fucking stubborn.
Oh shit, it's late as balls, dude.
It's almost midnight. Well, if you would have started on time, William, it would
That's
have
if
been
that's a good point.
it would have been 11 o'clock.
You got me. Alrighty.
Well, I
I
feel like
believe it
this.
is yes, it is time to part.
This is great. This is a fun one. This is a cheeky one. I like this one.
I like this one. Talking about what am I gonna call it? I'm gonna talk about the host, Mormonism, and
Archaeology.
that's it. Yeah, no, that's excellent. All right, I appreciate it, dude. Helping me out with the titling because I've typically just been the one doing it. Now I get some help from Jason.
Hell yeah. Pen of
How's
mine.
how's the thumbnail game? You think we have a good thumbnail game?
I like the thumbnail. I like the mashup of everything. It's visually interesting.
Yeah, I
I
like
like our dumbass logo on some blank screen. I actually like the way you do the thumbnail.
yeah, I like the template and like I see like it looks the same. Some of them I need to edit because the actual aspect ratio is off. It was not a
You never you never fucking updated my picture. I sent you the most accurate me of myself ever created on the planet, and you didn't use it.
yeah, I forgot about that. Um,
I can't believe how much this fucking me looks like me.
yeah. Send it again.
You guys are in for a treat.
All
If
right.
I ever, if I ever commit a crime, this is my mugshot.
Right. Alrighty then. Good night,
Night.
ladies and gentlemen.
Sweet dreams, Mormons and Catholics.
Yes, sir.